Four, three, two, one. We are live on FBNYT. Hello to all my Facebook and YouTube family. Welcome, as always, to the AP Morning Show. I'm always excited about another morning, another ready, set, go, another opportunity to do this thing here that we call life. And so I'm excited to be able to stand in accountability to you and yours one more time. I started out December 15th saying to myself, you know what? I really do get this Clubhouse thing. It's amazing. I also, at the same time, get what it means to be hooked on something that's so damn good as Clubhouse. I mean, it's so easy to get hooked on this thing called Clubhouse. The reason why is because of the fact that it's only the world's 6 degree of separation remover. It's only the best tool that I've seen since the advent of the internet, to be absolutely honest. It's the only tool that I've seen that, as simple as it is, because all it is text. Chat. No text. No video, nothing like that. And that's what makes it so special. We've had moments in here in the midst of my conversation here on Clubhouse where lives have been changed, where people have gone on to do amazing things together as a collective. It's been amazing. And so I'm happy to be able to stand here for the last 90 days doing this 5 days a week, 3 hours a day. There were some days, for some of you all that know, that has been here for me the beginning. Oh my goodness. We have 5.5 hour marathons at times. Even my mother said the other day, wait a minute, you mean to tell me people hang out with you on there for 3 hours? I was like, yep. She got a chance to talk to the family. She was like, y'all crazy. That's my son, and even I don't want to talk to him for 3 hours. But what I explained to my mother was that the thing about this environment that makes that possible is the fact that it's the most passive environment on the internet, giving you the ability to just flow throughout your day and still be able to tune in, chime in, listen in, drop a line in, ask a question. It allows you to be flexible and still grow and learn every day. This has been the number one thing that I've been recommending to people when I hang out with them and talk to them about their business product or service or their personal brand. I'm like, you have got to get on this thing called Clubhouse. Because if you do, your dreams will just start to accelerate forward. And so with accelerating forward, I want to refresh this experience and say hello to you again. Happy Tuesday if you're joining live. And I'm going to share a few thoughts, a few ideas to get us started on this beautiful Tuesday morning. This track that you hear in the background it's my tune. It's called Kamal Remix. Kamal Remix, Aaron Hill. Kamal Remix, Aaron Hill. You can look that up on any platform that you already listen to music. If you're a Spotify head, if you're an Apple Music head, whatever the case may be, and enjoy that. Kamal Aaron Hill. Check this out. Be willing and open to help and draw real boundaries and limitations. Be available to be of service and don't allow yourself to be taken advantage of, not even the least bit. Be open to suggestions and don't allow anyone, and I mean anyone, to tell you or to dictate to you what you're going to do or not going to do. Be kind and generous and don't allow your kindness to be taken as weakness. Be fluid, open, and mutable, and solid as a rock, clear, focused, and intentional. The only way you can help another is to do what you can and not feel guilty about what you can't do. I tell you, that's a saying, that's a writing that I could say to myself every day and it would never get old. Because it's about drawing those real boundaries. Here's another one for you. Awareness is the game changer. Awareness is the game changer. Sometimes the biggest thing that you can pay someone is attention. Attention. And here's my number one way to become a highly intelligent and well-rounded being. Here's the solution. Listen to and have conversations with highly intelligent, well-rounded people from different walks of life with different experiences. And here's one for you. This is the last one for the books, and then I'm gonna hang out with my cousin Caesar and also save us up to the people. Here's one for you. Stick this one in your back pocket right here. I promise you, you'll be able to use this later. Correct a fool, and they will hate and despise you. Correct a wise person, and they will love and appreciate you. Take note of who you correct so that you can see if it's worth the energy. I promise you. There can be some people that make you think twice once you think about that scenario. Because for some people, yeah, you need to remember these three things. Correct a fool and they will hate and despise you. Correct a wise person and they will love and appreciate you. Take note of who you correct so that you can see if it's worth the time and the energy. And on that tip, I'm going to refresh this experience. Say hello to my peoples. What's up to the Good Brother Radio Shack? Man, I see you got your hand up, bro. I can't wait to talk to you in a few seconds. Right before I do, I'm going to bring up my cousin Caesar. See what's going on with them this morning.
Be like.
Yo, what's going on, son? Everybody say that, yo, what's going on? Going on. And Karen's on.
Right.
I just feel like Karen's on what?
Karen's on.
On TV.
Clean your fingernails.
Right.
And your mouth will be clean for the rest of the day. Come on, man. That's them quotes, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You'll say clean your fingernails and your mouth will be clean the rest of the day. I need to find my fingernail joint now. Oh my
Wash
God.
your car.
Right.
And everybody won't stare at you. See what I mean?
Right.
Just simple shit, you know what I'm
Just
saying?
simple shit. Just simple gems.
It's just simple shit. The car won't move unless you turn the key. Man, that's deep right there, man.
Right.
That's deep. You know, real deep people get.
Right.
Real deep people. You say something, they be like, "Woo! Oh!"
Right.
All I said was, look both ways before you cross the street. Man, do you really know what that means, though? Huh? They said, look both ways.
Right.
Before you cross a street. And what color is the street, man? Huh?
Right.
Black. Huh? Black. Huh? And you gotta look both ways because the white people,
right,
that put the white lines or dashes in a black street going in both directions. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You ain't see that one coming.
Right.
I told you that.
Right. Why he always do that too? Like everything you say, he immediately follow up with huh?
Open your mind, young man. Look like they just street card and say, open up your life, brother. Huh? I'm trying to tell you.
You be like, yo, I have no idea how to take that, what to do from here. Like, I mean,
right.
You know, you got my attention. That's for damn sure.
Right.
But I just don't know what the fuck to do from here.
The only way to pump gas is to pump it. You're like, what?
What?
What did you just say, man? You missed it, didn't you? I knew you was gonna miss it.
Right.
Yo, man, I done came across a lot of deep people, yo, and they funny too, bro. Oh, they are funny.
Whew.
Right there.
Because that's all I can say, yo.
They get in your car and be like, hey, man, there goes some hand sanitizer down there. You go.
Right.
Oh, you think I'm going to put hand sanitizer on these hands? Brother, do you know where hand sanitizer come from? Man, personally, I don't give a fuck. But see, that's the problem is, not giving a fuck is a problem.
It's a problem.
Not giving a fuck is a problem. And that disease
itself.
Is being... it's the disease that a lot of people is picking up on, man. This I don't give a fuck disease is a problem. All right, bro. Well, whether it's hand sanitizer or whatever, you better wash and clean your goddamn hands before you get God, I'm gonna tell you that. How deep is that, motherfucker?
Hey, yo, it just gets worse and worse, yo. Like the more you there, yo, it just get worse and worse, yo. You just be like, yo, I just can't keep up, yo. I just can't keep up. But everything he dropped, it'd be like, yo, it'd be like wisdom that you just can't keep up with. Because you know what they say, bottle rockets don't fire off on Friday unless you pick up your pants on Tuesday, young blood. Like, what?
Right.
What the fuck does that mean? Brother Shaq. Yo, I know Shaq.
Yeah, I had to jump in. Coach.
Go ahead, Shaq.
That beat over here fucking dying. Early morning. But you know what the funny thing is? It's the hunt. It's the morning, bro. It's the hunt at the end. Like,
right. Right.
That had me over here crying, yo. Oh, man, my fault. Yo, hey, real quick.
Oh, no, you good, bro.
I'm super busy in the mornings now, man. But, yo, so my you ain't see on TMZ, my Clubhouse account got hacked last week. I was in there hacking all foot. Nah, I'm joking, bro. Remember last time what happened? I was in there, we was talking.
Oh yes.
Yeah, yo, I'm clowning, bro. But
yo.
Man, I just had to check back in and
I'm
make sure.
so glad you did, bro. I'm so glad you did, bro. First of all, man, let me introduce you to my cousin, Caesar, brother Shaq Caesar.
What's up, man? I appreciate the comedy this morning, the jokes. I appreciate that energy. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, man, for just taking the time to hang out with us for a few, man.
Hell yeah, man. Brother Shaq, man, is my man. Like, I'm trying to think, it's like 3 or 4 weeks ago we met here. And man, right away hit it off, man. Yeah, like
yeah.
You know, the music tip. You know what I mean? Just on a brotherly love tip, man. Just a cool tip, man. And yeah, bro, it's just been another one of those times. Brother Shaq, man, it's so good to see you, man. So good to see you.
Bro. Yo, question for you. Are you talking on you're talking on a microphone, correct? Are you using Rodecaster?
No, I'm not. So
straight through your phone.
Right now I'm talking straight through my phone. In fact, thanks for reminding me. I'm gonna turn up my audio quality. Tell me if this is a difference. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna turn up the quality to high. Okay. Does my voice sound different now? The same?
Kinda.
Okay.
A little crisper, but not like.
Okay.
But the reason why I asked is because I was trying to use mine to talk earlier when I checked in, but it didn't connect. So I got to figure that out. Because when I was watching that Facebook, I was watching a video that you sent me. Okay. And you can hear your audio quality compared to everybody else's. That's why I was like, yo, that's right. So that's all I was just asking.
Yeah, but so to let you know what I'm doing is right now I'm talking straight into the phone to you all. But then I also have my phone right next to a Rode USB mic, which is going into my computer, which that's what I'm using to be over here on Facebook and YouTube. So yeah, now you can use. I have like right next to me. I have an iRig, and you can use an iRig. In fact, I got 3 iRigs here. I'm about to try the other one maybe today. In fact, which is the iRig 2, because I've been using the iRig Duo, which you can use, and it works perfectly. The only thing with the Duo is that if someone else is on the stage with you, then it shifts the microphone to be your speakerphone mic. I mean the speakerphone on your phone, that microphone, because of the fact that people's voices are coming out, and that connection to the Duo doesn't have the third connection for earphones, so it doesn't handle it the same way. But the iRig 2, though, because I was looking at the video last night, the 2, and I have 2 of them joints here, I think they actually work where you could hear people, you could talk to them, hear people, and all of that be running through like your system, your mixer, from your DAW, the whole 9. So iRig 2, the little, that's the one you want to use there.
Yo, I thought the difference was the fact that when you first started doing the show, you was always in the bathroom. So now you're not in the bathroom.
Not in the bathroom no more.
Not getting in the bathroom no more.
Right.
Hey, and I do got to get back. I'm actually doing this flyer right now. We're doing something for 420.
Oh, really?
This Saturday. I don't know if you got anything going on, like around 4 o'clock. We're going to jump on Twitch, do a little vibe. Everybody do whatever they doing, where they at.
Oh, wow.
We're going to play some beat. You know, 420 beat. So
right.
I'll send you that and all that. It's done. If you're available.
Yeah.
You know we more than welcome to, bro. You know what I'm saying? Thanks, champ. Yeah. Make that pop I appreciate that. Yeah.
For
That's
sure,
one
man.
thing before, real quick though. One thing
you good, bro. You didn't have to,
that,
unless you gotta go.
No, I'm saying because I keep saying that because I'm gonna be hit run shit. Cats jump in, dine and dash.
Oh, that's all good.
Gotta run out. So that's one thing I've been noticing lately, bro. Like that whole connection online thing, right?
Yeah.
Like that virtual connection. Like I was knocking it at first. Right? Like, yo, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
we ain't face to face and touching and
right.
and whatever. Like, I'm like, oh, cool.
Right.
Me too, yo. I had to tell you, man, I was the same way, yo. Me too. But lately, though, that shit, I don't know whether it's just us adapting to this normalcy or whatever the case may be, but the energy is different. And I say that because I was in my studio playing NBA jams, right, on my arcade game, and I'm like, you know what? I was by myself playing music, feeling good. I said, fuck it, let me turn on my IG Live.
Right.
Turn on my IG Live. A couple of my peoples that I banged out with jumped on.
Right.
They talking shit. Oh, yo, you can't play. Da 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 da. That turns into now we betting through Cash App.
Right.
And talking and all that on a Sunday. And when I was done. And when Steve on the game, I felt good. Like I just had a good time, and I just realized I still walked out that room by myself.
By yourself. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what? The only time that you don't feel that way leaving the room by yourself, because I'm gonna tell you, man, The porn industry has been telling us to do this for years.
Right. Exactly. Look, not only that, well, exactly what he said exactly proves your point as to why this damn shit, yo.
And I'm glad this is also here right now. Think about it, think about it, bro. Think about it, man. The porn industry has been pushing this virtual thing for years, bro.
Right.
Like, y'all don't gotta see each other. Y'all don't gotta, and you know, and to take it seriously, all the entertainment industry. We've been watching movies where shit is about sins and you don't really gotta go outside,
right,
and be touching people to experience it. But yeah, and then the porn industry will tell you, then you ain't gotta feel bad about leaving the room by yourself at all. Right. We want you to be in the room by yourself because this is 9 times out of 10 a lonely activity. Yeah, like this ain't the shit with company and shit. You know Listen to me. I be careful now, even putting like red in my search engine or nothing. I don't want red to pop it up.
Right. Hey, look, either that, or you, right. Or you be careful with like anything you search with the letter B at the beginning. Like, spell that shit quick as a motherfucker.
Hey, Shaq, you guys are one of my comedy stories. We all located. Oh, man, we in Baltimore. Oh, listen. All right, so the shit is, I'm right here in Delaware. Oh, that's dope. Yes. I'm right here in Delaware, and I do, like, one of my main clients is right in Maryland. Right? Upper Marlboro. So I definitely come through. Let me know when you're in a next event and all that. Especially the weather starting to crack and all that. So, you know, I'm with that. It'll be in after April. I'm getting ready. We are locked down. I'm getting ready to go to Jamaica for a week, being a family. So I'm locked down. Man, I'll meet you over there. We got we got these 2 new bikes that we bought. That got we just gonna ride over there. By the time we get to the water, we got this bike switch going on the side. Who's it? Aaron, you trying to go?
You already know, bro. My goal is to meet everybody that's here in this app. Brother Shaq, in fact, is from Delaware. Brother Kim Briscoe. In fact, you probably see him shortly. He's in Delaware. Yeah, I've already started to meet everybody in this app, and my goal is to meet everybody. Yo, Brother Shaq.
I'm not from Delaware. I live in Delaware.
You live in, right.
Whenever people say that, it's not personal because Delaware is a great state. I love the people. I've lived there forever, but you already know, bro.
Oh, I was just about to say, bro. It's in your lingo, bro. It's in your lingo. Yo, let me tell you this, Brother Shaq. There you go.
For sure. I told you it's from New York. Right now, New York, you can hear it's in the blood.
That's it.
It's in the water.
We were talking about it. See, when Brother Shaq and I first met here, we chopped it up, and I asked my normal question to everybody, which is, how can I stand in accountability with you? And we started chopping it up, and eventually we got to talking about playing music and spinning records and just having a good time in this form of DJing and stuff like that. We chopped it up. He was telling me about what he was doing. Long story short, I gave him an idea. Like, we just chopped it up about something that already brought him love, already brought him, good vibes and all that kind of stuff. And he took off to go, do it or whatever, and to just do it for his own enjoyment and allow other people to be a part of it. And shit took off like it. So yeah. So Shaq, on this, to answer your question, when you were like, as far as the connectivity thing and this medium, bro, it's all mindset. When you talked about what you did the other day on the IG live thing and you felt connected and all, it's mindset, It's all literally mindset. And the reason why I say that is because again, we're in the midst of the experience with that right now. Every day on this show, man, people get lost in this experience and we don't even feel like we're disconnected. And it's because of our intention and it's because of our mindset about it. I like Coco, right? Who you see here, right? So Coco, before right. Yeah, I see. Yeah, let me mute him out. Right, surfing, right. All right.
Surfing on the highway. Oh man, I'm doing my waking baking. I'm just trying to, not let it smoke,
Oh yeah, no, you good, bro. Nah, that was perfect. So yeah, Coco, before she got in this environment, now I've been working with Coco on like her brand for the last year and a half, helping her out with other platforms, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, whole nine. So, we got some things done, but she still hadn't found the thing that was just like her rhythm. So I was like, Coco, you got to get on Clubhouse. I was like, I'm gonna tell you why. I say all your gifts, all of who you are, and the fact of just being authentic and being about creating real connection is what this app is about. So I was like, you got to grab an iPhone. She didn't even have an iPhone. I was like, you don't have to switch your carrier. Just go grab a cheap iPhone just for you to use at home on Wi-Fi. She got the app. Her first day in, she called me and she was like, I can't stand this shit. She's like, I hate this shit. I don't want to hear nobody. I just realized I don't like to hear people talk. She's like, and I don't want to blah, 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 right? She's like, I don't get it. I was like, it's all good. I was like, give it 24 hours. Yo, 24 hours later, and since that time, her entire career has changed because of the connections that she's made on this app. She went from not having a coaching business to having over 50 clients in the last month. Like, crazy change. And it's only for one reason. All she did was just had to change her mindset by giving it a chance. And now she can't stop talking about it. And every single day is another testimonial. And she's been trying to connect with the U.S. audience. She's in Canada. She's been trying to connect with the U.S. audience for years and didn't know how to.
I was on one day with her.
Yep.
I know the young lady you're talking about, my guy.
Exactly. So I just wanted to say that to say, to go back to what you said, I want to really pinpoint on your words. It's literally, I said this the other day. I said this the other day to, I think it was to Sherry. I was like, Sherry, the only difference between when it comes to making these ideas work in these virtual environments, the only difference between whether they work or not is whether you have confidence in them. And that, I promise you, and it's wild because it doesn't seem like that, but it really is. Because when you change your mindset about it, and when you realize that you are valuable, when you show up, even if you just chilling, playing a game, or whether you spinning music, or whether you hanging out with people in accountability, the shit is valuable. And when you value it, then all of a sudden everything changes and it pops. It really pops. So, Brother Shaq, I just wanted to say that to you, man, and just to keep motivating you to keep allowing for that shit to pop like that. Keep allowing that, yo.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
Well, I appreciate the time. I'm about to get out here and finish up.
Yes, sir, fam.
30 coming up, but it was definitely good chopping up seas.
Yeah.
Good kicking it with you, cuzzo. Yo, same here. Keep me in tune with them events, man. I'm gonna come check y'all out in Maryland. Yes, sir, man. Anything you got going on up there in Delaware, man? Well, Saturday, man. Yeah, we gonna connect through the social media platform, but I'm gonna send Aaron the graphics for Saturday, so if you free, because it sounds like you right on time at 4:20. So you know what I mean? Come holler at your boy. Yeah, definitely.
There it is.
All right, be safe, y'all.
Peace, Brother Shaq. See you soon, man. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good brother, Shaq, man. Good brother, man. I tell you.
Good energy up there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I like it.
Yep. So with that, I'm gonna do a quick refresh. I'm actually waiting on the BPS spotlight for the day. Josh Samir, waiting for him to come through, and here he doesn't have his IG connected, so I can't DM directly. So I'm trying to email him. But in the meantime, between time, If y'all want to come up to the stage with us, Amber Delia, good brother T, by all means, throw it up, throw your hand up, come on up. And other than that, if not, keep hanging out. We're gonna keep this thing floating. Bro, where you on your way to, man?
Yeah, I'm going to Restaurant Depot to go buy some food in Balkeridge.
Did you say Balkeridge? Did you say
Balkeridge? Balkeridge.
I guess
I swear to you, man, I went to Restaurant Depot one day, and I saw this guy buy. I think he bought at least a ton of rice, bro.
Damn.
Just rice. You're like, rice, nigga? Yo, who are you feeding me? God damn. Rice, man, no gravy, nothing to go with the rice, just rice.
Oh my gosh.
God damn, I was like, don't ever invite me over. Everybody in your house constipated.
Right.
Rice.
Yo, that's crazy, yo.
Somebody ever ask you, to make you dinner or something like that, or invite you over for dinner, and they just say, you be like, all right, what's for dinner? And they just say, rice. Rice, that doesn't even sound good.
Right.
People love rice. Like, man, I'm about to make some rice. You want some rice? Like, if you never knew what rice was, you'd be like, nah, I don't want that shit. Like, somebody say, I got some broccoli. You eat broccoli? Broccoli sound kind of like, oh, snap.
Right.
Even some broccoli. You might be like, you want some rice? Like, I don't really. Nah, I'm good. I don't want no rice. I'll do that rice shit. Yeah, I ain't on that rice. How long you been on that rice? Because I ain't on it.
Right.
Your rice doesn't sound attractive. It doesn't sound like something I want to go eat.
Right.
Now, if you say pepper steak and rice, you like,
right, changed everything.
That changes everything, son. So, pepper steak and rice? Yeah, I'm on that.
Oh my God. Yo, let's say good morning to Delia. Delia, good morning. Amber Delia.
Amber Delia, what it be like?
What's going on, Delia?
I love onion gravy just on rice.
Yo, onion gravy is good.
That is dope.
I can't lie.
I used to tear it up. And my sister would throw, but you like, that's just one step from air, right?
Wait a minute, did she say that's one step from air?
And some water.
Rice ain't shit. Rice ain't shit. It ain't nothing but plastic. They plastic.
Yo, she's
like great, like starch with the flour. I was like, but the flavor notes, man. I taste all of them.
Right. Yo, that's funny. You are so right, yo. Right. Onion gravy and rice.
I don't even cook.
Right.
Yo, you've never heard nobody say, yeah, man, we done ran out. I'm sorry about that. Don't nobody run out of rice. I'm like, where you go? You go to Chinese joint, they got mountains of rice.
Right.
Mountains.
Yeah,
nobody run out of rice. I don't care if it's brown, yellow, fried. Nobody run out of rice. You be one people run out of rice so you get the steak. Like, can I get the onion? Just give me onions and gravy. Keep the rice.
Yo, that's crazy, yo. Delia, I love this picture. Hey, Delia, your profile pic. And another one. Yo, I think this is crazy.
My daughter made a little handprint heart and I took it and did it with the Photoshop. So in the middle is the original handprint art.
Wow.
And so I've been needing to do that because my sister like is an artiste, and I was like, oh, I wonder if she'll do something like a collage with my kids painting.
Yeah.
And then she was just like, yeah, I don't mess with color paintings. I was like, oh, I don't want her to stop.
Yeah.
Like, because daycare teachers, man, it's basically like navigating the lemming.
Right.
Because they'll take this flailing toddler with some hand paint and then the flower or a pumpkin with feet. I'm just like,
right.
I try to do it at home. It's not work. I don't have the touch.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yo, your baby is so creative. Okay, look, so you're gonna have a very creative child. You know that, right? You already know that, right?
I hope so.
Let me tell you.
Seems like it.
Okay, she has a great example. Because you're the way you think about like colors and stuff, I think is so dope. It's simple, but it's like appreciating like simple colors, right? And how they come together, simple designs. You know what I mean? It's like simple and complex at the same time. That's dope, yo. Dope.
Yeah, we have these little paper protectors that are also magnetic. So like we switch it out
Right.
season.
Right.
Fridge art up. We keep it real neat and protected.
Yo, that's so cool.
Because when you colors are like swimming. Because when the colors get wet, they disappear. Damn, that's deep as shit. You ain't never heard nothing like that.
Right. Yeah, that reminds me of
like,
right.
What the fuck is you saying?
I'm just saying. Yeah, that's why I can't wait to be an old man just to talk shit like that. Like just to fuck with little kids.
Oh my
like,
man. That's one of the like I ain't rushing to get old, but that's one of those things that I can't wait to do just to say whatever the fuck that come in my mind, and it ain't got to make sense.
Right.
It does not have to make sense.
That'll make sense.
Old is a moving target.
Right.
I have very baby cousins in my life, so I be like, am I old? Like sometimes I be like, I am old.
Yo.
I said very big one time. And she's like, don't try to use my language to talk to me. I don't know if you're mocking me or trying to be cool with me or be down with me, but I've never heard you say baby, and I'm just going to need to stop.
Oh my God. You're like, yo, did you just check me? How old are you? Did you just check me?
Right.
Like she trademarked. She's like, I'm gonna need you to see this. Like, girl.
Like she had a patent on it.
Like you
Right.
Hey, Cuzzo, have you ever heard any of these young dudes call each other dummy?
Mm-hmm. All the time.
Have you heard it?
All the time.
Like I just, and they answer to it. Like it's their real name.
What?
Like I saw this young dude, they walking in front of me. Walking themselves going to one of the young dudes dropped his phone. His phone fell on the ground. He said, "You dropped your phone, dummy." You're like, "Huh? Dummy, your phone right there." And every time he said dummy, he said, "Huh? Dummy, huh?"
Right.
I'm like, I said, "Oh my God, this is a language."
Right.
They are really communicating by calling each other stupid.
It's like you want to go to him and be like, "Yo, you big dummy, you gonna let him sit there and call you a dummy?"
Right.
Like, you know, nah, I feel exactly what you're saying though, man.
Yeah, I can't understand the way these young man.
Reverse psychology.
This generation is what?
Yeah.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah, it is kind of wild.
I know we as black people, we are definitely some different type of folks.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely took the word nigger and turned it into something, I guess, positive to a certain degree, depending on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
We definitely flipped.
Maybe they just being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely flipped the narrative on the whole, the whole nigger word.
And we're me ignorant. Let's just take it to the next level. I just reclaimed dummy.
Like, you got people. It's crazy. The word nigga just could be said in so many ways, and you know what it is. You know what I'm saying? We're like, hey, what's up, Nick?
Right.
You ain't even say all the love. You ain't even. What's up, Nick?
I had to retire it. I'm a black woman raised by black women, and we never used it in a positive context. My mother never said it in a positive context. She only used it to talk about her brothers.
Oh, wow.
When they were being trifling.
Right.
So I don't have a positive association, to be honest, and I don't have a lot of dude friends. So honestly, I realized that I had to stop saying it. When the only time I think about it is when my white husband is doing something that get on my nerves. That's the only time I want to not like you.
Right.
Like, just and word, man, she getting on my nerves. That's the only way my mom uses it. I'm like, that's real negative. That's internalized racism. You can't use that word because it's not positive for you. You did not put the narrative.
Right.
I really love the honesty right now. I love the honesty right now. That was awesome right there. Like, the honesty.
It's not positive for me.
Oh yeah.
It's me being when I'm man hating. That's all it is.
Right.
My mom, single mom with single mom sisters, matriarchy, and the brothers was always mooching, and that's all.
You know, that's the one thing really about our people, about indigenous people, man. I mean, it's just like what was the thing they said in Baby Kids, we don't die, we multiply. Like real talk, like we can take you yeah, that's true too. I guess they say that about roaches too. But on the real tip, like we'll take anything you try to use against us. I mean, we have the power to turn that shit around. You know, it's like that's why it's always a matter of realizing our power, to be honest, because you know, it's one of those things, man. We do it every day. We redefine words. Like, I mean, who would have thought that somebody would say something like, yo, I hate you so much right now, and really mean like I love you right now? Like, I mean,
who does that?
You know?
But I thought that was a white girl did that song.
Well, I hate you so much right now.
Yeah. I could be wrong, but it makes sense in my mind.
Yeah.
You know what? You know? Right?
No, that's Khalid.
Yeah.
The milkshake girl. The milkshake girl. Right, and she redefined milkshake.
She hit you with the milkshake.
Damn. She got a lot of power.
I still follow Khalid because she be cooking these things.
Oh yeah, she does cooking now. She does. Oh, that's what's up. Like she has like her own cooking show. Delia, she has her own cooking show. Oh, her phone must be.
She has
there she goes.
Delivery thing. No, she has a meal delivery thing.
Yeah, you funny.
That was funny.
Oh.
She was like, I guess her phone to go. But no, what I was saying was, is she still married to Nas? Is her and Nas still married together?
I don't know. I didn't know they were married.
I don't know.
There she go again.
I don't know. I forgot the details.
Right. Yeah.
I just said I'm gonna make one of the best rap albums this world has ever seen, and I'm just gonna disappear. It just made Illmatic and said, I'm out. Y'all good? Y'all good? That's it. That's all I want to do. I want to do nothing else.
It's funny you said that because that's not Illmatic has always been my favorite Nas album too. What's the other one before? Oh, New York State of Mind is the other one, right? That was like the classic.
He had something called Stillmatic?
Yeah, he had Stillmatic. I think it was because like I was in a particular time in my life when Illmatic came out, like the world was in a particular place. Like, I mean, it just, man, it was a cultural just smash hit. Like,
Yeah, it was.
Like, golly. And Nas, because he's so clever, Like, you know, yeah, man.
Yo, I know I've always been a Busta Rhymes fan, yo, but I think I'm a forever Busta Rhymes fan. Yo, this dude, he'll just get better and better, dude. Like, no matter who he collabing with, no matter what's going on, this dude is just Busta Rhymes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dude, he's just Busta Rhymes. Yo, now, he big as a house. I'm talking about the dude is just made of muscle right now. Like, your neck is so big. It's like he played for every NFL team. You're running back for everybody. You'll play all day on Sunday. But Busta Rhymes is Busta Rhymes, though, man.
Right.
God, man, I love him.
Yo, it's funny you said that, because when I have a conversation about, like, okay, top 5 rappers, top 10, like, Busta Rhymes definitely is in there. And the thing for me that really immediately made me take off as a Busta Rhymes fan was, like, just his delivery, man.
Yeah, man.
His delivery and his flow. And then on top of that, he was always reinventing himself. Like, when he came out with Woo-Ha and that whole album, yo, oh my gosh, man. It was so clever. I mean, first of all, I remember watching the Woo-Ha video, and the respect that I had for it was like that a person, like, and this is how I feel about my own, like, silliness and goofiness, like, that he didn't mind that being all out in front of the camera. Like, he wasn't trying to just fit, like, the norms, you know what I mean? Like, he was okay with being silly and goofy and fun, and I was like, yo, it takes courage to, like, come out and be different like that and just be like, yo, this is how I feel. And, yo, he had my respect instantly. And then how he switched his style from Leaders of the New School to the other, you know, to, yo, Busta Rhymes,
That's
yo.
crazy. When you think about his longevity.
Right, longevity, right.
I mean, he was on the tail end of ABC rap.
Right.
ABC,
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Right.
He was on the tail end of that.
Hit you with no delay. So what you saying, yo?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, him and when him and Old Dirty Bastard got together, that was it for me. That's right. That should go to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a song saying Woo-Ha, bro. That's it. That's all it said. That's your organ check.
Hey.
Oh my God,
I mean,
man.
that could be a proverb.
Mm-hmm.
Got you all this shit.
Got you all this shit. Yo, his metaphors. Right. Woo-ha! And you know we come through the rapper discotheque. Woo-ha! Throw your hands up in the air, don't ever disrespect. Yo, he just
said woo-ha.
Right.
Next time I see a girl wearing a mask and she look attractive on the body side, I'm just gonna walk up to her and go, woo-ha! Take that mask off so I can see your goddamn face.
Right.
Right. Yo, the leg going crazy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right. Yo, the leg going crazy over there.
I'm telling you, yo, that's how, yo, that's the bust. Yo, let me tell you. Then you have Busta Rhymes. I'm trying to think, what was the rap he did? It was so fast. I mean, he does it a lot, right? But it's like one.
It was a collaboration joint.
Oh my gosh, yo.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Now I know.
It's crazy, son.
Right. Now I know that, like, in fact, I'm gonna see if I can find it here. I'm gonna see if I can play this freestyle on my computer. But I know that, like, you know, you got like Twister, who I think may have been considered the fastest rapper. I know at one time he was considered the fastest rapper. But like, yo,
E40 too, dude. E40.
E40, yeah. But like Busta Rhymes, yo, I mean, yeah, that dude is just so versatile, man. He's so versatile. Like his ad libs alone, you listen to his ad libs, and like he's doing all kinds of like ad libs that you don't really hear people doing, like, especially when he was starting to do it, all the different ways he would do his ad libs in the backgrounds. Like, yo, to me, he's another one, like you and I talk about, he's another ad lib king, boy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yo, What You Call Him had one of them songs like that too. What's his name, man? Eminem.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. One of them songs where he was just rapping real fast, like all that crazy. I was just like, man, he's really talented. I don't even think that.
He said, I'm a rap god song.
I think that's what it was.
I think it was I'm a rap god.
I got this Busta Rhymes right here. All right, let me see. I got this Busta Rhymes. Well, you got Can You Keep Up, right? So you got the Busta Rhymes featuring Twista. And then you got this Busta Rhymes raps live.
Big Boy Neighborhood, the one and only infamous, ladies and gentlemen, the living legend Busta Rhymes is in the neighborhood. Now, Bust, this is what we do, man. Yeah. We do this thing called neighborhood karaoke. Right. E-Man, every song that he put on, you got to do live for us. All righty?
Oh, man.
Hey, man, they hit me up for the bootleg in Japan already. I sent them, man. We got a karaoke coming up with Bus, and they ordered.
Here's the freestyle right here.
I go.
Bus.
Let's do it.
DJ E-Man, let's get down Big Boy's neighborhood.
Don't this hit make my people wanna? 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 Who gonna do Diddy part? I go. Act the fool, you better watch out. Hot shit, you bringing the cops out. Street soldiers is bringing them shots out.
They're trying to perform together. All right, I'm trying to find the part. There's one part where you hear him go like bananas.
Yo,
and his dynamics, Busta Rhymes' dynamics is just like crazy. All right, here's the one. Of course, you got the, you know what I mean. You got the Twister one, of course. Like this, here's their verse right here.
Hit a victim in the middle of the body with a bullet and a rhythm, every murder and destruction. Every time I hit you, nigga, with another term, and I'm like a lovey, sounding like a nigga full of anger. Now I'm back to beat you in the head, I bring another bang on my niggas. Let's everything we do, we know the anger. You don't really want to see the way you're coming in and give it till you get it, when it's a nigga numb. Do what I want to do until I make another nigga drop. I'm gonna do it, homie, you know why.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yo, if I can get paid to rap that fast. Right. Right. That's exactly what it sounds like, right.
All you gotta do is just go up and down in your penis.
Right. That make no sense at all. Yo, I'm telling you, yo, Busta. But yeah, Busta, to me, that longevity, that the fact that he's able to recreate himself, he stay up with the times, but he don't lose that, like, that initial, like, what makes Busta special. Yeah, man. Yeah. I want to do a quick refresh. Say what's up to the good brother Walter, and of course T. By all means, if you want to come to the stage, you know what to do. Throw up a wave. The main goal is to say, hey. So change of plans this morning. The BPS spotlight that I have for this morning, Brother Josh Samir, it looks like his Clubhouse is not connected. Let me see. I'm going to try to search him one more time. Looks like his Clubhouse is not connected to his Instagram. Let's see. Yeah. So I'm actually trying to contact him. So in the meantime, between time, we just want to keep the conversation going. And if he comes through, then by all means, we'll jump up and we'll chop it up with him. But yeah, if you'd like to come to the stage, go and throw up a wave. You know what's up. And if not, we're going to keep chopping it up till the rest of the family continue to flow in. Also want to say what's up again to all the peeps hanging out FBYT. Y'all know what it is. You know what time it is. Brother Walter Gaynor gonna be on the Boss Lots podcast soon, man. I'm so looking forward to it. Good morning to you, broski.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I'm looking forward to that too, man. Yeah, it's gonna be dope. I feel like every time I'm in one of your rooms, it's like I get like a little nugget of like some like story from one of your journey so far. So I'm excited to sit down.
Yes, sir. Oh my goodness, yo. Same here, man. How you been, man?
Man, it's been a crazy just past month.
Yeah.
I've been on this like for real adventure of life, and it's kind of crazy because like, you know, at first it's like everything you had planned kind of gets ruined.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm like too much of an optimist or whatever, but like halfway through it, right. I was like, oh man, this is actually kind of like a interesting, I guess, time in my life, because like everything kind of halted, but a new opportunity was presented to me. So now I'm kind of excited. I think I kind of get to do what I like to do with a whole different kind of angle. Like still the same energy, but just approach it differently. So
okay, is this an under wraps operation until like further notice, until it's ready to open up, or could you share? I'm curious because this sounds fascinating.
I can share here. Okay. It's not like fully like cemented yet, but basically my podcast episodes, I think, are going to be able to be premiered on this new radio station, an online radio phone.
Nice.
This guy in Texas has really been building for a couple of years, and he was actually, I just was going to have him on my show and everything, and then he hit me up. He's like, yo, I just know what you're doing. Just want to extend the opportunity. So, still kind of discussing what it all look like and if things going to be reformatted or whatever, but I'm kind of excited for it.
Wow, bro. Man, that's super cool. You know, I know you say it's still got a process to go through, but man, I'm excited to hear about that, bro. That is super cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is this a radio like satellite? I mean, not satellite radio. What am I trying to say?
It's kind of like it's interesting. See, that's part of the process. Like, I'm still kind of learning about this space because like when I first think of radio, I think I either like radio station in the car or Sirius XM.
Right.
I think a lot of people are starting these internet-based radio things.
Right.
But this guy, it's kind of interesting. It's a little bit different. So he has an app that was developed a while ago. It was really just like he was playing music kind of all day and everything, and he decided to kind of bring podcasts into it as well. So, yeah, I don't even know what to compare it to be honest. It's a whole new thing, but
that's dope.
He's building like 3 different brands, and it's all kind of has a synergy together. So I'm still learning about the operation.
Right. Yo, that's dope, man. That's dope, and I'm just glad to hear about that as an opportunity. Because first of all, man, you deserve it, bro. I think you're a great brother doing great things, man. And then on top of that, man, and then it just opens up the doorways, to new ears, new flow and new people and to be spotlighted. I think that's so cool, man. I think that's super cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, but I can't stay up here too long. I just wanted to pop in and say what's up. I'm popping back to the clubhouse now that things are coming down. But I see you got your club and everything.
Got the club, fam. Oh my goodness. Golly, so happy about that, man. Yeah. So I knew at some point they were gonna make it just like a in-app kind of thing. It just made sense. I mean, when you think, you know what I mean? When you think about like other platforms, when you think about like say you take Facebook, for example. Here's Facebook, a place where in addition to having a personal account, you can create a group, and so essentially creating a club is like creating your own group, So, yeah, so, it made sense. I mean, I knew as far as development that they were going to just make it in that because it just made sense. So, yeah, man, we got it. And you have a group too, right? I think I might have. I'm trying to think. I got so many group requests. I mean, not club.
Yeah, no, there's like groups everywhere, clubs everywhere. Yeah, I have one for Boss Locks.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta
I'm
join
going
that.
oh yeah, I'll see if I can send the invite. But yeah.
Yeah.
And now
I'll click your profile right now. In fact.
Uncle, appreciate it. Yeah. So I think once I start having the shows on the radio and stuff, when I do be a bit more active on that, and it's kind of crazy now because like everyone has their own like clubhouse thing now. So like Twitter Spaces, fan base has their audio chat thing. So
right.
So many places to do stuff. But yeah,
100%, man. That's what's up, bro. Well, I ain't gonna hold you, man. I know you got a roll, but man, I'm so glad I got a chance to catch up with you for a few, man. And
yeah, but true.
Yeah, and I'm definitely looking forward to catching up on the podcast, man. It's gonna be a great conversation.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a legendary episode.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, good talking to you. What's up to everyone else? I hope you all have a good day.
You too, fam. You too. Yes. Delia, how's Luna doing today? If you're still there, how's the baby girl?
She's good. We're going to the zoo this weekend.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to meet up with a friend. She just got vaccinated. We're going to see her in person.
Gotcha.
And she's pregnant, and she has a kid who's about Luna's age. So we haven't seen each other since the pandemic started.
Right.
I'm over here doing crunches like
getting it in.
Oh man, I'm seeing a person.
Right. Getting prepared, like getting excited, like you about to go on like an adventure, right? Like you about to take it a trip, a field trip. Right.
Yeah, we haven't been,
I was gonna ask you. Yeah. I was just about to ask you how your husband actually, how's it been for him? Like, has it been stressful for him? Has he been pretty chill? Like, how's he been dealing with this time? If I might ask.
I think we've gotten used to it. Ebbs and flows, really. It ebbs and flows.
Yeah, I get that.
Because for a minute, it was like, this is good living. We're working from home. This is great. But then, this is one of the few times I actually take Luna someplace. So whenever either one of us go somewhere, Luna has to stay at home.
Right.
So we're just like,
There's some bullshit.
So he's not used to that. He's not used to a lot of, well, he wasn't.
Right.
Me and Luna, now that it's summertime, we on the road. We going to zoos, we going wherever we can go to.
Right.
Because we used to stay out in public.
Right.
I honestly, as a new mom, I literally didn't trust myself to be a good mom just at home. Because I was like, oh no, I'm just going to sit there and watch TV. We got to go. We got to do places. I got to enrich her, So like, I was running all over the place doing the most. And this kind of forced me to sit down and like do activities and be like a mom in a house.
Right.
I was nervous about that.
Right. Look, let me tell you this. I always say, like, during this time, when we get through this time, the things that we would have learned together as a family, the way that our kids would learn to be mindful, for us to be in the same space and for us to live in a harmonious way. I mean, honestly, I think it just increases. I think that, it takes us to another level of that. So I definitely feel you on that. It's funny what you said, because I had this image in my mind where you were like, I see you and your husband, being like, yeah, this is great. We get to work from home. And then like you flip the page and it's like, 30 days later, it's like, man, it's some bullshit right here. This is some bullshit.
I would, I'm over here. I don't have as stressful of a job as him.
Right. What does he do for a living, by the way?
He is a software project manager.
Gotcha.
So he used to code, and now he kind of tells people what to do and does meetings and shows people software and helps them develop stuff.
Right.
He works in the healthcare industry, in the pharmaceuticals industry.
Right.
So with the lab techs, like he produces software for the lab techs and everything. They be like working on cancer stuff, and next gen
Wow.
was saying and stuff. Yeah, he's really proud of like his contribution to that. But you know, he'd be in meetings and he'd be stressed, like, oh, this is broken, and I don't know what's wrong. And I woke up like, I come in like, oh, I heard Rihanna. And he like, please not right now. I be coming in trippers about, and he'd be like, no, I can't, sweetie. Like,
that is hilarious.
I can't right now. So that's the problem with working from home, because I don't want to like socialize.
Right.
You know, we used to have lunch breaks, like for real lunch breaks.
Right.
We don't do that no more.
Right.
We would take it full advantage, and we haven't.
Right. Yo, I feel you. It's a whole different flow, yo. It's a whole different flow. I always say, like, you know, what doesn't break you, if you can make it through this time, you can make it through any damn time together. Like, real talk. If you can make it through this time with your loved ones or your spouse or, you know, the people that you stay with, oh my goodness. Like, you either going to tear each other's head off or you're going to build each other up and make each other's head bigger and smarter, because you're going to learn some lessons. 100%.
Lena definitely knows how to say sorry and give a hug after irritated.
Right.
She has seen this behavior modeled plenty.
Right. Yeah, they learn that fast.
It's almost to a point where it feels like she'll do something like full on hit me. She'll just slap my chest.
Right.
And she'll seem like get flustered, and then she'll hug me. And I feel like, man, this is like an abusive relationship.
Oh my God.
It's so sweet and like give me the sweetest hug and like pat my back. And I'm like, oh, okay. Sorry.
Right. Yo, I love it, yo. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
I love it.
That makes everything better, unfortunately. I can't even say that.
Right. This is funny. You made me think about something that I'm actually going to read a little bit about. And when you were talking about this parenting thing, I started thinking about the idea of self-parenting again. I've been learning about this like recently. Have you ever heard of self-parenting? Caesar and Amber, either one of you all ever heard of self-parenting?
Nah, man. I mean, I heard of parenting by myself.
Right.
You know, but I ain't never heard about no. I didn't know it was a program or a book. If somebody want to say self-parenting, I don't get it.
Right.
But obviously somebody else get it. You know,
Yeah,
all they did was just put self in front of parenting. You know.
Right. And Delia, have you heard of it? What'd you say, Delia?
Nah, it just hit me in the intuition. Like it sounded familiar, but I don't think I ever heard
Right.
it. You know, it's one of those things like, oh, I know what that is.
Right.
You know?
Right. Okay, I'm gonna actually read a little bit about this real quick, and I'm gonna post this on my social media. So if anybody is interested in following up on that, by all means, just check out my Facebook page, and I'm actually going to throw up an article. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the short description first, Wikipedia, and then we'll dive into it a little bit more. The idea of self-parenting is that a person's mind is created in the form of a conversation between two voices generated by the two parts of the cerebral hemisphere. So in other words, you got the two parts, and one represents the inner part. That's the left brain. And for those that don't know, the left brain is heavily responsible for the analytical side of you, the problem-solving side, the very analytical side. When I was younger, my mother developed my left brain by making me read a whole bunch of damn books, as well as making education first, you know, getting me into math, science, reading, like all these things that was developing my left brain. And then the right brain is actually considered like your creative side. It's, you know, it's the side that's me being a musician. It lends itself with the improvisation and creativity. You know, you got artists, you got people that sense the spoken word, you got flowing in all different kind of ways, dance, all of this stuff, right brain when it comes to the creativity. So left brain, left brain, analytical, right brain, creative. So in self-parenting, left brain is represented by the inner parent, and right brain is represented by the inner child. The manner and quality by which these inner conversations take place between the two voices is most accurately described as self-parenting. The inner parent is parenting the inner child within the inner conversations. Another way of seeing self-parenting through a different perspective is first off knowing that usually some individuals are not strong when it comes to dealing with problems with their inner self. They usually need a mentor with positive feedback there to guide them with certain strategies, and most of all, to overcome obstacles. Most of the time, when they are in need to dealing with the forces of reality, they place too much pressure on certain people. The individual quality of a person's self-parenting style is said to closely resemble the specific style of parenting he or she received growing up as a child. So that's the overall definition. And then I want to read this real quick from Riley's Psychotherapy. And you all know I'm in school for psychotherapy, so this kind of stuff really interests me. What is self-parenting? I feel so out of control. Everything makes me emotional. I get angry and hurt at the smallest situation. What is wrong with me? I hear this so often. Someone who seems like the calmest person on the planet comes in and tells me about an interaction. They are shocked and dismayed by the intensity of their feelings and their behavior. They are left amazed, confused, and scared. They want to know why they said what they said and why they feel how they feel. The problem with storing feelings, one explanation could be that denying their feelings, that they deny their feelings and they get stored inside. It could be that rather than feeling and expressing their true nature, expressing their true emotions, they transform them into feelings they consider acceptable. When feelings are transformed, they are also stored. These stored feelings build up over years and begin to push us to express them. The feelings will leak out at times when we don't expect. This leads to a sense that our feelings are out of control. The ability to regulate emotions is something that you learn from your parents and the environment where you were raised, or where you were re-raised, it says. Yeah, the environment either from your parents or the environment where you were re-raised. One reason people cannot regulate their emotions is that they were not taught the value of feelings and the many helpful things that these feelings do for you. As adults, we treat ourselves, and y'all know about that heavily because a lot of us grew up with this idea of stuffing down our feelings. So that's what it runs at. This is true for all adults, especially for those who were neglected or abused. No parent, regardless of how hard he or she tries, can meet all the necessary needs of a child's development. I love that. No parent, regardless of how hard he or she tries, can meet all the necessary needs of a child's development. And I say I love that because it's realistic. It helps us to be able to be forgiving of the places where even us as parents or us as adults didn't get certain things from our parents. Raising a healthy child truly does take a village. And even when we reach adulthood with unmet needs and many developmental tasks not accomplished, even when we reach adulthood, it still takes a village. Helping ourselves through self-parenting. This is the last, actually it's 2 more sections after this, but I'll make it fast. Helping ourselves through self-parenting. One way to help ourselves is through self-parenting. It is an essential skill for dealing with the harsh inner critic and for adult functioning. Self-parenting is the process of developing our own nature, loving parent who is capable of loving all of you, the opposite of the harsh inner critic. Self-parenting helps the wounded child inside of you heal and grow. It's created through nurturing ourselves and regulating our behavior and feelings. It means that we have a part of ourselves that overrides the impulse to run wild or to be self-punishing. We treat ourselves like we would a favorite child and a favorite adult. Simple? No. Complicated? Yes. It is a contradictory concept that is necessary for happy and productive living. The process of learning how to treat ourselves begins at birth. We learn how we are valued through how our caretakers treat us, even before we know that we are learning it. Those cues from who we are and how we believe when we deserve, those cues form who we are and how we believe we deserve to be treated. Learning what we need. This is the last two sections right here. Learning what we need, and then self-parenting is about giving ourselves what we need. Learning what we need. Self-parenting means learning what we need and how to be that good parent or adult who will provide them. It teaches us to align what we want with what is good for us. Successful self-parenting begins with learning about all our aspects and traits so that we can find the pieces of ourselves that need attention. Because no parent, I repeat, no parent or parents can provide for every single developmental need of a child. There are parts of each of us that were neglected or experienced trauma or hurt. They are confused, immature, and dysfunctional. These aspects of ourselves do not know how to live life on life's terms and thrive. Last part, self-parenting is about giving ourselves what we need. In self-parenting, we identify those areas that need nurture, discipline, and transformation. The victimized inner child, the bully that picks on the child, and the rescuer that thinks that he or she can live life without help. It said, see internal drama triangle, so that we can begin to treat ourselves with love, respect, and concern. The good news is that we can heal the wounds of the past. We can reduce the deficits from childhood through self-parenting. Again, I'm going to say this to everybody. We can reduce the deficits from our childhood through self-parenting. With the help of a loving inner parent, you can meet the unmet needs from childhood. And that was, again, called What is Self-Parenting? And that was by Catherine Broadway, Masters in Divinity and LPC. Yeah, this was phenomenal. Okay, so let's talk about this thing. Let's talk about this idea of self-parenting. Again, for those that may have just come into the experience, first off, I say good morning to you. Hope all is well. And once again, for a quick definition, I just read a whole article, but for a quick definition, the idea of self-parenting is that a person's mind is created in the form of a conversation between two voices generated by the two parts of the cerebral hemisphere. The left is the inner parent, and the right is the right brain represents the inner child. And so this idea of being able to give yourself what wasn't given to you is self-parenting. Let's talk about it. I want to refresh the experience. I want to say good morning to Andrea, Missy, Ken, T, Walter, and of course, Delia, Makazo, Caesar. If you'd like to come to the stage, by all means, chopping it up about this concept of self-parenting. What it means to you. Have you ever heard it? How does it fare out for you? Where are you on the path of it? Self-parenting. Caesar.
Because to me, it sounds like you're gonna be doing a lot of talking to yourself.
Yeah, that's true. This is true.
And people say when you talk to yourself, that's a symbolization of being crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But
right,
I believe that this is just another way of saying check yourself.
That's it.
Before you wreck yourself.
That's it.
I wrote that song back in the 90s. And some dudes from New York robbed me. And they didn't even take my jewelry or nothing like that. They just took my song.
They took your song.
Check yourself.
For you wreck yourself.
No, for you riggedy wreck yourself.
Right, riggedy, right. Because it ain't wrecking unless you're riggedy wrecking.
Oh man, I mean,
Yo,
I
self-parenting.
know a lot of things, man. Self-parenting. I mean, like again, you're gonna be doing a lot of thinking.
That's it.
A lot of checking yourself. A lot of analyzing the places you go, the people you're around, the things that you allow in your space, even the things that you read, that you watch. You know, that the same stuff that we would do for our children. Oh no, my child is too young to watch this and to be around this. And then when they get of age, you know, they're able to handle certain things. So, I mean, I get it.
100%.
I get it.
The thing I feel you, bro, and I appreciate that because that's spot on. You know, the thing I like about it, in addition to that, is like one of the biggest things that we all deal with, and I love how the article put it. Every last one of us deals with something that we were not passed down by our parents, something that we needed, or that we were passed down some bullshit that we did not need, or something that was there was missing, and we realize it as we get older because of the fact it shows up as a deficiency in our personality or dysfunction, like it said. And this is why I love not only being able to have these kind of conversations, but talk about these things and emotional intelligence and all this kind of stuff. Because the truth of the matter is that knowledge and wisdom is always relative to the time period, which means, like this article said, there's no way that every parent can give the child everything that they need, because you only know what you know. I was talking to someone yesterday about this, and I think it was actually hearing this experience at some point, and we were chopping it up real heavy. And I was like, you know, it's one of those things where one of the biggest things that allow you to forgive your parents for things is when you peer into their history and you realize that they didn't get that either, or you realize that wasn't important in their family either, or they didn't receive that kind of nurturing either. They weren't taught how to deal with their emotions either, you know? And then
I agree with that. I do, because it's like, you know, it's, of course, it's that thing that always goes around and people saying there's not a father at home. The reason that this young man is acting up because he didn't have that male presence, that male guidance. And then you look back, you go into the history of that father and say, well, did that particular father have his father to help him, you know, become the man that he wanted, was supposed to be? And then his father was his father then for you. So it just keeps going.
It just keeps going.
You realize, you know, who was there? Was there anybody father there to do any damn thing?
That's what I'm saying.
So that's what you're looking at. So yeah, it really is almost impossible to give your kids everything that you feel or that they would need for their life.
That's it.
You know, but all we can do is try, man.
That's it.
You know what I mean? All we can do is try.
You're still trying to grow you're still trying to understand life. This is what happened yesterday in the conversation. I know everybody here, and think about this, because I know you can relate to this. At some point in my childhood, I'm looking at grown-ups, and at that time, a grown-up, an adult, somebody who was old as crap was 30. I was like, damn, man, I'm 30-year-olds. I remember thinking about my stepfather at that time. He's 31. But I don't know, has this ever happened to you? Just think about this for a second. You have these perceptions of adults, like they got their shit together, or they don't. Maybe you see that from day one. Maybe it's exposed to you at a young age. But to some degree, I know this has happened to you. As you continue to climb those ages and as you continue to hit these ages, you look at where you are at that point and you're like, yo, I'm still figuring some shit out. Like I'm putting one foot from the other, but I'm far from figuring out everything in life. And then you start thinking about like, damn, this is what life was like when my parent was this age. This is young as hell. Like I still feel young as hell. I still I'm still learning. I'm still growing. And so most parents are still in that place. It's just something that's natural and normal to what it means to be a parent. Most parents are still in that place. The thing is, to me, when you realize that and you accept that, and then you also accept it for yourself, then it allows you through this concept of self-parenting to start saying, you know what, I know that I know where I am. And at this point, I could continue to be upset about these things that were passed down to me or these things that I didn't get and neglected. Or I can just realize what they are. I can realize what I need to work on. I can stop bitching and complaining about it. And I can just say, you know what, I'm going to do what I need to do so that I don't pass this trait on to my child. I don't pass this thing on. I don't continue with this generational thing. I don't continue with this thing, or I make some, as I like to say, one of my biggest goals is to be a positive ripple in the waters of humanity. And my deal is that doesn't mean I could change everything, but I could do my part. So self-parenting, let's talk about it. Dalia, Missy, good morning to you. How are you this morning? Hey.
Hey, good morning, Grand Rising, Let's Rising, all that, what up, all that.
What's up? Okay, I ain't got my Martin Lawrence joint yet, but I'm getting there.
Hold up, Missy. Where are you? Oh my goodness, you sound like somebody dragged you in a dungeon somewhere. Where you at?
I'm in the bathroom.
I knew it. I'm in the
bathroom beating my face. Get ready for the day. But it's been a minute.
Let's get it, Missy.
I've been on here. So I wanted to jump on here real quick and such an amazing topic that I wanted to dive into real quick. So
please, Missy.
I want to share. So thank you for setting this platform. I want to just share real quick. So I lost my dad when he was 42, right? He had he lived a hard life. Right. And of course, to your point, when I was younger, I'll be 46. I'll be 46 this year.
Right.
So, I was 17 when he left, 16 going on 17 when he left. So, of course, it did look old to me. 42 was like, and he had, both of them, my mother and my father, was grayed all out.
Right.
Had a hard life. That's number one. Number two, both my parents was able to retire. Yeah. They only had one job their whole life, and they were retiring in their 40s. Now I'm telling you, I'm 46 years old, reinventing my whole self again. Yeah. Keep in mind that. Yeah. So the work ethic alone was so different between then and now. They both had one job. Now, my mom's working again, but that was her choice. My choice working with children. Right. But she worked, she retired after 20-some years. Back then, my mom's 71. My dad retired from Chrysler, right? So left him, had a hard life, so on and so forth. Looking at the things of how different I was going to raise my children, and it's like having to have that hard look at yourself. To your point, to this whole thing here about when was the hard reset for me to stop blaming?
Yes.
My parents.
Yes.
When was the hard stop for me? When was I going to quote unquote grow up and realize it wasn't their fault? They only did what they knew.
Yeah.
They only did what they knew. So my mother still, thank God, she's still living. She put so much on herself now, and I'm like, Mom, I need you to live as much as your best life as possible. Because you look at your child now, I'm an amazing, badass Black woman. And that's all due to you.
Right.
And this is the way I look at it. There's some things that I will not do what you did. And I thank you for teaching me that. Wow. Those things, I won't move in that direction. Wow. I'm not blaming you. You just taught me what not to do.
What not to do.
Yo,
that's so brilliant. That's so brilliant. I love that. Let me tell you something, just to throw this in there, and I'm loving this story. I'm loving your story. I often say there are two paths to success. There's two ways to find a path to success. You can either stumble upon the right one and, keep hacking out and you stumble upon the right one, or you can find all the wrong paths, which by process of elimination leads you to the right path. So I love that. You learn the same. I literally learned this in music when I first started. I was listening to music where I would listen to things I like, and then there'd be things I would come across that I didn't like. And my friends in my group would be like, why do you keep listening to that stuff? And I'd be like, because I'm learning the same thing. I'm learning the same lessons just from a different angle. It's teaching me what not to do.
Yeah.
Whew, let's get it.
I love that. I love that because it's like if I went through the quote unquote okay path, or through the okay path, or the path that never taught me anything, right?
Right.
I I just wouldn't be ready and prepared for life because that's not how life is. It's just not how life is.
It isn't.
So, it's not. So, here I am. I have bonus children who are over the age of 21 that I had a hand in.
Yeah.
More than a hand, I had my whole body in, so I helped raise all of them. So they're all over the age of 21. Then I birthed an 11-year-old. She'll be 11 in May. I birthed an 11-year-old. Then I have a grandson who's 5 years old, right? So, and then I have all these other, extended and blah, blah, youth and young adults.
Right.
And one of the key things that I share, oh my God, life is hitting me. It's hitting me. It's hitting me. It's hitting me. At certain ages of their life, things are hitting me, even with my 11-year-old.
Right.
And they always look at me like, why are you smiling though? I just told you life just hit me. And I'm smiling because I'm like, baby, welcome to life.
Welcome to life.
Welcome to life. Congratulations.
Right.
It's like playing the video game back in the day. You made it to the next level. You made it to the next level.
Yes.
Congratulations. But guess what? You still standing.
That's it.
You still standing. So congratulations on meeting the next level of this quote unquote game called life.
Called life. Yes. Oh my
So the obstacles is going to look different when the last path looked a little bit easy, a little bit bumpy.
Right.
You got to jump and hurdle this.
Right.
Here you are at the next level. You breathing. Oh my God. And then you look and say, oh my God, this is my level. Yes, congratulations. I'm smiling because you're still standing. So what do you want to learn from in the past? And what do you want to put in the current? What do you want to do now? You've learned how you want to improvise it and place it into your next player. So listen, baby, I tell my mom all the time, thank you, Mom.
Right.
Thank you. So listen, that's what I just wanted to, that stuff is just powerful to me. I'm so glad I jumped right here on it. I jumped right at the very top.
Yes. Me too. Perspective. A change of perspective is everything. To go from saying, I don't like you, I don't like this, I hate you, to go to being like, you know what? Thank you for what you did. I had a particular point in my life where I was with a partner who was kind of looking at me in a strange way because of the things that I did not get from my parents. And what I would always look at my life as is an amazing thing, a miraculous thing, that I could actually be at this place as a man in emotional intelligence and in maturity and all these things without having that as an example all the time, but with also having a few other things that I cherish and that I'm thankful for. And then the rest, I was like, I can't feel bad or look down on myself for this shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, I was not given this, and I'm working my ass off because I'm good enough to realize that, wow, I get the opportunity to this thing called self-parenting to not look back and spend time dwelling on what I didn't get from my dad or what I didn't get from my mom, but what I did and how I'm taking up the torch to make up the rest of the equation.
But Aaron, look at how look at your mother and look at my mother. Two different parenting styles, bro. Two different. I know you've seen it.
Oh, definitely true.
My mother was more like the warden,
right?
But you know what I'm saying. I just couldn't. She was just really strict. But your mother was more strict and. Yeah, I'm gonna give my son his freedom to be a kid and do this and do that.
Right.
But he's going to be educated, and I'm gonna push education and building up, all this other stuff as much as possible.
Yeah.
Now, maybe that had a lot to do with her career. Yeah. Because she was a teacher, and my mother was, she was more of a laborer. Right. Working her body and, a lot of time being away from home and stuff like that. So she had to put that fear in us, to do right. Mm-hmm. So when we become children, those things that we didn't like coming up, that we felt like, dang, man, you could have been a little bit more lenient. We try to be lenient with our kids, and then we kind of realizing down the road, we like, man, maybe we could have been a little bit more stern with our children in this area, just like our parents was and stuff like that. But then I look at it like, look how close me and you are, and then also look how close our parents are. even being different in the parenting styles and all that other stuff. So
right.
I think it all come back around full circle because you never really know. Like they say, parenting doesn't come with a handbook.
That's it.
You know, everybody's not perfect. Everybody not doing the same thing.
100%.
Right, you know.
100%. Dalia, I'd love to hear from you. This idea of self-parenting and with what I just read and what's been shared so far, what does it bring up for you? And quick reset, everybody. If you want to come to the stage, by all means, would love to say hello to your beautiful face and come on up. And if not, and you want to continue to allow this to be your background radio show, you know how it goes. Dalia, I'm curious, what does this bring up for you?
Well, you know, I definitely made some different parenting choices, but one thing that's interesting is that a parent, not only can a parent replicate what their parents did from not learning from it, but they can also overcompensate. Mm-hmm. So if you're not taking the time to give yourself the thing your parents never gave you, you might end up pouring too much.
Yes, you're right.
That should be reserved for you into the kid and overcompensating and falling out of balance.
So true.
So I see that I really need to be cognizant of that.
Yes.
Because while I'm saying, oh, I know, I'm fully aware that I'm going to do something wrong. I just told him, I was like, yeah, I'm just not going to have the same exact problems. It'll be something unexpected. I'm just not dumb enough to recreate the same exact problems, right? So,
I like that.
So, but to keep it in balance, I just have to remember, okay, let me make sure I'm giving myself those things, because I could end up, you know, things you need are not necessarily that your child needs too. So while you're busy trying to give your child everything you didn't have, you need to yourself and then look at your child and look at what they need as individuals, and not look at them as an extension of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because a lot of I agree with that. I agree with that because I have experienced and seen a lot of parents, you know, that they choose the path of being more of their child's friend than a parent. And it may hurt the child in the long run. So you're allowing certain things. I didn't see parents say, well, if my teenage child wants to smoke weed, I'd rather them smoke weed in the house with me, or you know, or drink with me and stuff like that, and cussing around me and all of those things, instead of saying, and in my opinion, I feel as though stuff like that leaves the door open for disrespect, because the child is no longer looking at you as a parent; they're looking at you as a peer.
Well, that's what I think. I agree with you. I think that the thing is, like, it's really like communication. You know, it's like, I think it's one of those things where if you are, I tend to agree that certain things I'd rather my child be exposed to with me first, so that way I can get in the ropes, than just be out here and just exposing it with anybody who I don't even know what they're teaching them or how they're learning. I think the thing is, like, the communication piece, like just always being clear with your child and being like, okay, this is what it is. I want to expose you and experience some things with you. I want you to know what this is not too. And because what I noticed, like, when I think about even with my daughter Aria, like the fact that there's nothing taboo in between us, there's no taboo concepts, there's no taboo things. It has created like a deeper relationship where she actually has even more respect for me. When I was a kid, I thought about this recently. This past year, my daughter Aria showed me a video that she liked. And she's like, Dad, before I show you this, I got to let you know, like, it's got cursing in it and that kind of thing. And I was like, baby girl, let me explain something to you. I was like, it's a good place to have a conversation. I'm not one of those judgmental people that looks at things and just immediately throws out the baby with the bathwater. And I was like, when it comes to cursing, like, it's a thing. And all of us know this. When we were kids, that was taught us to be the worst damn thing in the world. And really, there were worse things than damn curse words that we should have been warned about. But again, in just understanding where our parents were, where their ancestors were, and just continuing on back, you just have understanding of it. But my point is that with my daughter, she played this video for me, and she was happy. And this is so just reminiscent of our relationship. she was so happy that for me, I didn't have like the response that my parent would have had, which would have been like, no, this is off limits. Like this is we not even watching this together because it has cursing in it, and that's just the end all be all. And I was able to show her in this video not only what I found valuable, but how I found it funny, how I found it helpful, and all these things. And what she got a chance to experience was something where now, yeah, we watch stuff. I don't even think about the damn cursing shit, and neither does she. But it's not out of disrespect. She still knows the difference between something where it's cursing and it's some complete bullshit and ain't about nothing good at all, and something that is actually decent or funny or educational, and it just happened to be used in colorful language. So I think it really just boils down to like the kind of communication you have with your child, so that way they can experience some things with you that you rather them experience with you than to just be out there experiencing the world, or to just tell them don't you do this shit, because that's the most bullshit thing in the world. Because of course that doesn't teach anything, and of course your kid is gonna try some things one day. We do shit. I'm sitting here smoking weed now, and my mom or anybody else would have been like, just don't do that, and I get it. But to have it framed up better, to have it talked about in a way where it's like, okay, here's the deal with it. It gives a more realistic relationship with it. And what I find is that it actually helps the child to make better choices as opposed to this taboo, hush, hush, we don't talk about, we don't do this thing kind of, flow. So just some thoughts. What you think, Dalia? Anybody else who want to come to the stage? I would love to know your thoughts. If you're a parent, or if you have experienced this as a child or anything, with this self-parenting thing. But yeah, I love this, and I love just this idea of being real. In fact, I'm gonna read something to you all real quick. Delia, while I'm looking for this, did that bring up something for you? I would love to hear your thoughts. I'm looking for this little writing that I wrote.
Yeah, like, so the kid is probably going to be into things that I'm not into. I don't really see us, like, being besties. But especially since I had her at 35. Like, some people, maybe they're a little bit younger, so they're more likely to be, like, friendly. But I'm already so distant from my baby cousin. My baby cousin be, like, reminding me of my rights when I try to be down. So I know that's not going to happen. We're not going to be friends. I'm not going to be like reliving my youth at her 21st birthday because I'm going to be too old and busted for it.
So it's funny. So this is what's funny about this. I love this, right? So I'm 38. My daughter is 13 now, and we just did a podcast recently. We did a podcast which was just one of our normal hangouts, one of our normal conversations, and it's called Dad and Daughter Besties, right? And what's funny about it, and here's what I find interesting about the journey, right? So it's kind of like what my cousin was saying earlier. Like, I agree that there's like a level at which like you don't want to treat your child like literally like they're just some young friend, because you still got to teach them stuff. But what I find is that, and this is what happened with me and my daughter, we're sitting there talking, and I was like, baby girl, as always, we're having such a good conversation. I was like, I want to show you about this Clubhouse thing, start introducing you to some of my family, some of my friends, some of the people that I'm connected with here. And I was like, so, what do you think about me going live on Clubhouse? And then, we just continue to have a conversation. She's like, sure, Dad, I would love that. So we talked about, I said, because I've been thinking about something. Like, I really consider you like one of my best friends. And she's like, Dad, that's so crazy, because I was just thinking about it the other day. And it's interesting because we have this balanced relationship where she will listen to damn near anything I say, like anything. In fact, she wants to know my opinion. She wants to talk to me about things that she even said, I don't even feel comfortable talking to Mom about these things. Like, but you never judge me. You never make me feel, you always make me feel safe. And so she talks to me about things, and she still like looks at me as her father. Like, she checks in with me twice as much because of the fact that I go twice as far to be mindful of her. So I do little things like this. Instead of like when we're together, if she has something to eat and I have something to eat, and you know how it is, your kid might have something where you're like, man, that looks good, I like to try that. instead of just reaching and be like, let me try one of these, I ask her, like, is it okay if when I want to see, when I want to see her and that kind of thing, I'm like, is it all right with you? Like, and it's like coming from a place where I still let her know, like, look, this is what I like to do, but I want to be mindful of you too. And that has allowed her to lean in twice as much. So it's a really beautiful, interesting journey, with this. So I want to hit on one more thing too, Dalia, and then I'm gonna shut the hell up so I can hear what you got to say and hear from Andrea. So I like what you said. I really, really like what you said about making sure that you don't want to just have the tendency of, oh, I didn't have this when I was young, so I'm just going to flood you with this, because it is very true what you said. You will over coddle your child. We will over coddle our children. People have been over coddled because of this kind of thing. And when you do that, and you create an unrealistic perspective for the child. Yeah, because then they grow up believing that this is just how things flow all the time. And then they don't have a backbone. They don't have the ability to face the very real natural disappointments in life, or when things don't work out or come through. So I love what you're saying, because what it essentially is about is this balance. It's this balance. And I also like, one last thing, I like how you mentioned that, you look at the child, and even though that's your child, even though, yes, there are some things you may know in order to guide them and lead them into, you also want to look at that child as their own individual, so that you can see what they have an interest in, what they like, what their flow is, while still managing it and guiding and directing them. So I just wanted to give you kudos and flowers on that, because I just like the way you put it, with this topic.
Thanks. Yeah. I hear you. I'm getting better with the whole being mindful of my kid. My kid is 2 now, or
right.
Almost 2. So she lets you know when you have failed to be mindful. When I do something abruptly, like sometimes I'll want her to stop doing something, and before I know it, I'm already reaching for the thing and taking her away from her. And I know that that's abrupt. I know that, like, I'll say, I have to give her a warning, say, Helena, that's not a good idea. Can mommy can we trade? And things go more smoothly when I do that. When I just, like, take the pen or whatever because danger, she gets upset because I haven't respected her humanity. She can feel that. She knows what the freak is up. She knows you get that from. You could have used words to talk to me.
Yes.
I speak English now, so she gets upset. She feels disrespected, and I have to apologize.
I love that.
So that dynamic of forgetting, having her remind me, and then apologizing builds up that practice.
It really
and
does.
Apologizing to your kids is cool and super valid.
Beautiful.
I did not grow up experiencing that.
Right. Me either.
And I do hope that, like, I think Missy was talking about, forgiving her mom and having to reassure her mom that, she did her best. I do hope that in the course of practicing, expressing my regret and being sorrowful and showing that I'm learning from my mistakes, that Lena will also learn to forgive, because she'll have practice. Because I've apologized.
She will.
I've apologized, and she will have practiced forgiveness.
She will.
And she will learn to apologize and see and experience for herself the mercy of forgiveness. So hopefully 100%. She'll give me that mercy when we come of age, as I continue to grow and make my mistakes. Because I'm gonna say sorry.
You're giving her the example. You're literally giving her, I'm sorry to cut you off. You literally are giving her the example. And this is why I salute you so much, because you're giving her example. Oh my goodness. Andrea, good morning to you. Good morning, Andrea.
Good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I just dropped my oldest off to his first day of in-person school. It's only once a week. It's only once a week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was so cute.
I know he was happy. Wow. Was he happy? I could imagine he first, like, wow.
It was so He was just like, you know him. So of course I wanted to take a picture. They had like a balloon arch. And I thought it was really cute. You know, they wanted to welcome them back. He didn't have a first day of high school day.
Right.
So this was like, you know, his freshman experience, and he went in, and of course he was being who he is, and you know, like trying to make a big fuss. But I didn't care. I was like, you're making this longer.
Right.
I got my picture.
Right. I know you did. And look, I could already see his face too, where it's just that smile. But I could tell it was like one of those beautiful moments of like, Ma, come on.
Exactly. And you know he's gonna be like, can you text me that picture?
Right. Because that's how they do. Up front, they be like, come on, man. Then after they be like, hey man, can you text me that picture that you like,
And that's like all that. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, Mom, we're having this dynamic. Why do we have to have this push and pull over the images, over the photos, man?
Right.
Just stand still and take the picture.
It wouldn't be right if they didn't have that moment. I wonder if I had that moment. Do I remember those mom moments? Like, Ma, come on. I think I did.
Probably had them.
Yeah, I think I did.
Like, they revert back to being, you know, there's so many parallels between a teenager and a toddler.
That's what I was about to say, because when I remember that, it was at the same time where I was like, Mom, but at the same time, like an hour later, it was like, hey, Ma, like I was still need her. I'm like, you know, so yeah, that's that moment.
I mean, it's such a major transition, right? Toddlers, they're learning a certain level of independence and understanding their environment and growing. So you get this big spurt, this big growth spurt, cognitively and physically, and there's a lot of physical changes that are going on. And it's the same thing it reflects in when they become teenagers, right? They are learning to navigate their environment in a different capacity. And there is a huge shift in their growth, right? It's not necessarily that now they are experiencing the world from, you know, toddlers. They learn to, they're no longer crawling, they're no longer being held, they're walking, they're moving around, they have some autonomy. But it's the same thing with teenagers. It's just in a different capacity, right? They are they're learning to have they're gaining additional autonomy with not always having people around. They're having to make decisions for themselves. Without checking in on, like, not every decision has to be a check-in.
They're
learning to navigate even physical changes. Whether it be having growing pains because of like intense physiological and hormonal shifts. You know what I'm saying? There's so many parallels. And I just get so tickled because imagine, you know, it's hard to get a 2-year-old to take a picture sometimes. Everything else. And I'm like, dude, here you go again. I was like, so, you know, if I get my Aaron to take a picture, if I say to my Aaron, take a picture, he goes smile and take a picture. Right? Because he hasn't hit that other stage.
I'm about to say, he hasn't that stage,
He's still coasting. He's still like, I mean, we were singing Aladdin last night together. And the big one was looking at us like we were crazy. Like, it's all good though. Like,
it's the cycle and the saga continues. It literally just keeps swirling around. We hit it once when we come in this thing, you know, we hit it again when we're developing. And then, you know, you think about this adult point, you know, which is why I'm like, this self-parenting thing for me, I hadn't even heard of this term until really earlier this year. And even though everything I'm reading about it, like literally, this is what I've been doing. Like, this is how I've been governing myself and guiding myself and giving to myself. Like, God damn, for at least the last 7 years, like intentionally. But it's interesting because
I will be honest, I don't like the term self-parenting, and I think this is a bit much. I think there's always, like, you know my background, so I think there's always somebody trying to push their dissertation or some idea so they can get published. But I think it to me, it just sounds, okay, yeah, we understand different functions. We're understanding more and more. There are different functions of aspects of our physical brain and system, and we also are learning, as we think about epigenetics and
well, let me ask you.
Move into that. But
right.
Honestly, the idea that the left brain and the right brain, that the right brain is the child and the left brain is the parent.
I'm with you on that.
I feel like, listen, both of them, they're both, it's still one brain. And so we have to have a balance. And so I don't necessarily feel that the side that necessarily the one that's going to put structure in something is the quote unquote parent, and then the other, because inherent in those ideas is that there is something that the left brain knows more of than
let me
right
do this.
brain.
I'm with you on that, but I think that let me see what you think about this, because if we go away from what the brain and whether we're left or right, I think the crux of the concept, like self-parenting, the idea of dealing with your inner harsh critic, self-parenting, the process of developing your own mature, loving parent who is capable of, as they say, loving all of you, as the opposite of the harsh inner critic. So check this out, right? This is one of the things they said in this article. Self-parenting helps the wounded child inside of you heal and grow. It's created through nurturing ourselves and regulating our behavior and feelings. It means that we have a part of ourselves that overrides the impulse to run wild or to be self-punishing or self-deprecating. We treat ourselves like we would a favorite child and a favorite adult. And it says simple no, complicated yes. It's a contradictory concept, but it is necessary for happy and productive living. The process of learning how to treat ourselves begins at birth. We learn how we're valued through we learn how we are valued through how our main caretaker treats us, even before we know we're learning it. Those cues from who we are and how we believe we deserve to be treated. So I guess what I'm saying is more than the literal, like what brain hemisphere and that. I just think about this concept of taking the things that you weren't brought up with, or that was like not a good thing that was instilled in you or you were exposed to, and really just taking the responsibility to work on that shit, like to work against it, to realize what it was, and then to take yourself accountability and say, okay, yeah, that was fucked up. Like I was gaslit when I was a kid, or I was treated this way, I was traumatized, I was abused. But instead of me continuing it, I'm going to work with those things and work to relegate it. What do you think about that? Because I think about it more in that way.
So it's interesting. The idea of accountability.
Yeah.
Makes complete sense. That's actually what I was thinking about, right? Like
right.
that is created and built, I believe, through just gained experiential knowledge,
right,
and desire to move in a path that is conducive to your overall wellness and wholeness.
Right.
But those are choices that we make. But then there's also some people who choose not to make those choices, and that's just their path, right? And so
right.
I definitely hear the accountability aspect of it. I think for me, and because, being in neuroscience background,
yeah.
and that's, I don't
right.
necessarily, I'm like, I don't really like how we want to compartmentalize and simplify aspects of the physiological and psychological experience.
What's interesting? I feel you on that. Here's the interesting thing that I think spoke to me about that. When I think left brain and right brain, right, I think about the right brain with this creativity, this flow, right, this artistry piece, this art, this ability to take, like my good friend Coco would say, to take a mistake and turn it into a masterpiece, or to change when you change your perspective, or when you open the flow. Like, it's interesting because what I see more so as far as left brain versus right brain in this is like, if you were brought up and say your parent was very negative or something like that, and it created that structure, that was like the grid of your mind, because that's what it was, that's what you were brought up in. To me, what the right brain does in like the different ways we practice, like whether it be mindfulness or meditation or spirituality or looking within the self, like whatever, like all of the self-help and forward thinking stuff, is all like almost, again, this creative process of taking shit and turn it into sugar, or to take lemons and turn it into lemonade, or to take a fucked up childhood and turn it into a beautiful, outcome. And that's what I think of more when I think of left brain, right brain with this equation, because you can have something that's built into the fabric of your brain because it was planted in you. And from a structural standpoint, that's all you know. So you stay in that cycle. And then you can have the serendipity, the intention, and the other stuff that's about further development and creativity, where you take that and I'm always amazed every day because I had a good childhood. So I'm always amazed and marvel and praise people every day that had really, really bad childhoods and have turned that shit around, have creatively turned that around to equal something good. And this is the last thing I'll say, which to me is kind of what's interesting about this, that relating to this, like with the bottom line of, I think, this self-parenting idea is, it says self-parenting is about giving ourselves what we need. In self-parenting, we identify those areas that need nurture, discipline, and transformation. The victimized inner child, the bully that picks on that child, and the rescuer that thinks that he or she can live life without help. And it says, see internal drama triangle, so that we can begin to treat ourselves with love, respect, and concern. The good news is that we can heal the wounds of the past. We can reduce the deficits from childhood through self-parenting. With the help of that loving inner parent, or of a loving inner parent, you can meet the unmet needs from childhood. So I think about that. What do you think about that, Andrea or Talia? And anybody else who'd like to come to the stage, by all means, please come up to the stage, talking about this idea of self-parenting. I'm curious as to how this resonates with you. What's your thoughts about it as we continue? But Andrea, what do you think about that?
So it's really interesting. I like to use working definitions, right, and ideas of certain things. So then that means, what does parenting really mean and what does it look like, right? And so when I think of parenting, I don't think of a relationship in which, good morning, Chris. Sorry, that's my fist in the audience. I don't think of a relationship in which, I feel like it's a relationship in which it's created, we're here for growth. It's not, I feel like some of the constructs that we create as a society and what quote unquote parenting should and should not look like, and what a parent should and should not be. But ultimately, there are certain responsibilities that an older adult, if you bring a child into this world physically in order to get them to certain levels and certain developmental stages, right? We need that, right? A little tiny infant definitely needs the support of his or her mother to grow, to move, to have food, just the basic necessities and needs. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that parent is the end all be all and has everything that child needs.
That's what they said in this article. That's what I love about it. That's exactly what they said.
And it's even what we were talking about, which I heard you, when I was listening to you all talk earlier, the whole idea that parents aren't wardens. You know what I mean? Like, I look at the parent-child relationship as this: I'm the parent, so I know best at all times, and you don't know it all. Right. It is very much a reciprocal relationship. It's a give and take relationship. At an any given moment, you are the parent and you're the teacher and the student, just like the child is. Exactly. So the child is here also to teach the parent.
Exactly.
So when we think about the fluidity of that relationship and how that moves, and it's so interesting. Oh my God, me and Chris were talking about it last night, because she definitely was one of those children where you would be like, okay, she was telling me a story, and I hope she doesn't mind, but I'm not going to tell the whole story. But she was telling me a story about how when she was a little girl, having an experience where her parent thought that they were teaching her a lesson, when in fact, the lesson was on the parent. And you wouldn't have necessarily thought about it from, this young child being able to navigate this world in that capacity. But there are some of us who do come into this universe, in this world, being able to navigate in that way. And I do feel like as parents, we do call our children in to support us with the things that we need. And you know me as a parent directly on a more personal level. So you know how I feel about parenting in and of itself anyways, and how I parent. This is an opportunity for me and my children to learn and to have a better understanding of who we are on a spiritual level also.
100%. 100%. I absolutely love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And this is beautiful. I'm gonna I'm gonna read one more thing in a few seconds, but what I want to first do is say, please say hello to all the peeps on FB. And I want to also welcome you to the stage. This beautiful topic of self-parenting is what we're talking about right now. And yes, what is self-parenting to you? Come onto the stage if you'd like to, and if not, and you'd like to continue to just hang out in the background, listen to this beautiful conversation, definitely, you can do that too. I'm about to jump to you, Brother Ken, see what your thoughts are. But right before I do, let me just read one quick thing. I'm going to treat my way through this article a little bit at a time. Check this out. Self-Parenting 101. This is by Nancy Collier. Learning to take your own side. Just going to drop this one thought. How would you treat yourself if you were someone you loved? This is one of my favorite questions. It's not only instinct to take good care of someone you love, but to also take good care of yourself. Unfortunately, we are trained to unlearn our loving instincts when it comes to ourselves. Many people are unaware of how they treat themselves. They spend their lives angry about the kind of care they received as children, but end up offering themselves the very same kind of care. There comes a point in life when you have to take ownership of your own caretaking, to consciously choose the kind of relationship you will have for yourself. I'm gonna pause there, jump to another piece. This is in the Psychology Today article. But on that tip, let's open up our microphones. Let's say a huge good morning to the good brother, Ken Briscoe. Ken,
Good morning.
What up, home? Good morning, Ken. How you feeling?
I'm good. Yeah, excuse me, I'm in the car this morning, but I'll say good morning to everybody. I was in the audience, so I was at the gym just listening.
Yes.
And, it's a really interesting topic when you talk about self-parenting, because I'm not sure we defined what a parent is, right? It has all these different definitions, just like what you said, depending on how you were parented or the care you were given. So, I don't know if necessarily self-parenting will always lead in the positive direction, right? Because if you've been given a screwed up way of looking at life, then the rules, the values, the principles that you hold yourself accountable to might be just as screwed up.
Yes.
So I think when we say self-parenting, to kind of what Andrew said, I think there needs to be some working definition for us to apply it to. It's just, everybody comes up with their own crazy shit.
Right.
And you really see it when you get in relationships, whether it be friendly or romantic, right? You start to wonder why people respond to certain things or act a certain way, but it comes from what they were given or what they picked up along the way, not realizing what's right or wrong. It's just how they function in life.
I totally agree with you. I'm totally with you on that. I think, and this is the thing I think it alludes to, at least, the idea, like you said, you could take a concept like parenting, you could take a concept like being a moral person, and it's always going to be subjective, right? So I definitely agree. I think where the starting place is the idea is like an emotionally intelligent individual, right? So when I look at the end of this first article, it's talking more so in a direction about identifying areas that need nurturing, discipline, or transformation. Now, of course, like we said, it's still going to pour out to what you believe that means. But when you go to something like the victimized internal child, the internal harsh critic, I guess it's all the things. If we were just to say, it's another way of saying, what does it mean to be an emotionally intelligent individual, or to strive for emotional intelligence? We think about self-awareness. We think about self-regulation. We think about motivation. We think about empathy. We think about social skills. We think about those 5 components. And essentially, I guess it might be a matter of like getting lost in the semantic of the fact that where a parent is subjective. But this is more so, I guess, if we were to take away that label, it would be basically like, how do you not allow those things that you now, that some of us now, that we now identify, even as we do every day, as non-beneficial traits of your personality that came from the style of parenting or the lack of parenting? How do you take that from there and become a more emotionally intelligent individual so you don't pass those things forward, or so that you can change some behaviors that might be detrimental to your journey and to other people around you? I guess I just think, yeah.
So I just want to pose a question. Do you think it's required or it's necessary for you to have children to be a more self-aware parent?
You wait a minute. That sound like a contradiction. You said, do you?
Well,
you
so
mean
when the idea of being, when we talk about self-parenting, right? It's this ability for you to kind of govern yourself based on those 5 areas that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
But when we think about the terms of the parent-child relationship, there's this idea that there's these governing principles.
Right.
So I guess what I was alluding to is that I believe that I was better situated to be aware of the things that may be contradictory to my progress in those 5 areas.
Right.
When I had a child, when I was able to experience specifically what I was giving to them, to understand where it led me,
right,
or where it could possibly lead them, and then be able to govern it there.
Yeah. So I guess the answer would be a yes, like an emphatic yes, because it would be like a literal and a figurative yes, meaning like essentially, and I love the way you just put that. Essentially, the only way you can learn how to parent is to be a parent, or to have a demonstration, to be brought up in a way where someone is teaching you by virtue of just being a parent to you. Now, again, of course, like I said, we can't get away from the fact that it doesn't mean anything to be a parent. It just literally just means that you had a child. But let's just, I guess we could say, like, emotional intelligent parenting. And so I think that the way is that you're able to learn what you can learn if you have a good example. And then there are some things you just can't learn unless you have a child, and then you have a different kind of relationship to say, oh, wow, this is what this feels like. Oh, so this is what I'm needed for. Oh, this is why this is important. And this is why, oh, now I see. So yeah, it comes with its pros and its cons, but I think that might be, it seems like at least that might be the case. That's kind of a both and kind of thing.
Yeah, look, I'm just happy to be a parent. I've learned so much about myself being a parent. So the idea of self-parenting just continues in that direction of how I improve upon myself based on what I'm able to give and receive.
I love it, fam. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, yes, yes. Let's say good morning to Keisha. Keisha, good morning to you. Everybody, let's open up our microphones. Let's say good morning to Keisha. Keisha, good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone feeling this morning?
Good morning.
Wonderful. How are you, Keisha?
I'm doing wonderful. Feel good.
Yes, yes. Okay, so I'll put the extra couple of words on it. Emotionally intelligent self-parenting. What have been your thoughts as you've been listening to this conversation?
Oh, I love the flow and the vibe of what you guys are speaking about in regards to parenting, and you've touched on a lot of things in regards to personal development and dealing with the experiences of being a parent, and also even like conscious parenting, and to some degree, it's like as you become a parent, you kind of get thrown in, especially if you don't read about certain things.
Right.
Like the new parents now, they like to read all these books before they become a parent, so they can be more aware. But those folks are usually self-aware ahead of time, where they've seen what their parents did, that they liked and they didn't like, and they wanted to make a transition from doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. Because no matter what, no matter how we don't want to be like our parents, experience is the teacher, and end up emulating the same acts that they've done. But as a conscious person, it's like what I've learned is that our kids, we're just here to instruct them.
Yes.
And our attachments to them can really get in the way of how we can give them valuable information that will help them move from one level to the next. Because our attachments will also be linked to some level of fear. And that fear would have been from some mistake that we've made in our experience. And then that can hinder their growth because we'll try to restrain them from doing certain things because we fear that they'll make the same mistake. But when we learn to allow ourselves to remove our attachments from our children, we can become like an instructor and allow them to fall and make mistakes, go down the wrong path sometimes when we don't want to see it, but at least be that person to steer them forward. Because there's no road to perfection. None of us are ever going to be perfect. And sometimes being a parent can allow the ego to step into play and feel as though, let me create this perfect human being. Let me keep them from making mistakes.
I appreciate that, Keisha. It's a couple things that resonate with me immediately from that. Everything you explain and the definition after you said instructor, it stacks up to me to something I talk about a lot, where I actually call that more so a guide. And I say, like, we're here to understand our children and to guide them, right? And of course, now then we go back into again the C of, well, what are your principles, what are your morals that you're using to guide? Because you can guide people into a great successful place or into a not so successful place. But this makes me think a whole lot about my upbringing and why I'm so grateful for my mom. Because my mom did the number one thing she could do for me. She taught me how to think and not what to think. She taught me how to think and not what to think. What she did was she guided me. Yes, there were some things that, based on her understanding of life, were the things that you needed to do or were supposed to do. So some of those things I was just forced to do. I mean, that's just what it means to be a parent. Sometimes you actually have things it's just, you have to do. You have to keep it moving, or you have to try your best to make the decision for the child or have you, as far as something they need to do, you need them to flow, and you're just doing the best you could. I just so happen to be fortunate that because of my mom's serendipity and the way that things panned out for her, that she had a good enough of an education to teach me how to think and not what to think. And she exposed me to a lot of different things that would teach me how to think. Like, it would teach me some of the things to think about. Because then what that did was allow me to be able to go forward. And before I became a parent, I had some of the things that was in place to be prepared to be a parent. I had a bit of education that would give me patience and seek for understanding and not look at everybody like the same person. And just all these things. I had a balanced enough perspective to be so far a healthy parent, and I know even that's subjective, but based on these things of emotional intelligence and just the way that my kids are growing. Yeah. So I really, really appreciate what you're saying, Keisha. And I just love the value that adds to the conversation. I want to also do a quick reset. I want to say hello to Auntie G, Truth for Life. Good morning to you, David, Brandon, Asim, and Sherry. And if you like to come to the stage, by all means, throw up a wave. Would love to say hey to your beautiful face. We're continuing to talk about really honestly, the same thing we talk about every day, emotional intelligence and what it means to be more emotional intelligent. But with this concept of when you have to take the reins in certain places in your life because you weren't given that example, that wasn't something important in your household. Last thing I want to say that resonated with me, Keisha, about what you said is it made me think about how I have been taking the reins for these last 7 years. I have learned about the things as a man that I wasn't taught by my father because he wasn't taught. He didn't have that example, and that just wasn't what was important. I have learned those things that, although I had, with having a beautiful mother who has taught me education and exposure, which helps me to overcome anything, she also continues to learn and say, wow, I did that when you were a kid. And even though she might not apologize, but I could hear that she's not as like, yeah, I did that. She's like, oh, yeah, I did do that. And I'm like, there's growth. There's growth. And so that's what I love, because my whole deal has been looking at that in a balanced way and just saying, okay, hey, this is what I was given, this is what I wasn't. So let me work on the things that I wasn't. So I want to open up the floor. Brother Meyer, good morning to you, family. Everybody, let's open up the microphones and say a huge good morning to our good brother Meyer Clarity.
Good morning, everybody.
What's up, Meyer?
Good morning. Good morning, Meyer.
Good morning, Keisha.
Morning. Yes, sir. What do you think about these here thoughts that have been thought out before the thunking thoughts have been thought? I was about to fuck with you, bro.
And honestly, it feels like every morning the nail just gets harder on the head in terms of like what we're talking about.
Right.
So like, self-parenting's a big one for me because, yeah.
Right.
First of all, defining a parent is tough, so I like to use the word caretaker. Because that's like, it implies that they give a shit versus they just not someone. Right, 9 months later, maybe happen.
All that and more on the next AP Morning Show with your guest host Meyer Clarity. And I'm saying that because when you said that, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna throw it right back to you, bro. When I found out this last year, and I'll tell you all this and more, not on this show, but another episode. When I found out that out of the 18 children that my father had, me and one of my, of the 18, that I just realized, I was like, wait a minute, was I planned? And I found out not one of us was, but my father on the flip side loves his children to death. And it taught me something very interesting about emotional intelligence. More on that later, but yeah, bro. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, well, that's good. I don't think I was planned either. That's funny. I actually asked my dad once. I was like, Dad, was I an accident? Right. And he told me I was more of a premeditated crime.
Hey, oh my God, bro. Oh my fucking God. You are in the right place, bro. I love you with all my heart, mind, and soul, bro. And I will tell you that every day of your damn life. God damn.
Yeah.
Whew.
So, and I'm an only kid, right? So
yeah.
Later we had the conversation. It kind of does sound like I was more of an accident. Because, according to his whole thing, he was like about to teach in Prague, and then got the phone call that I was around. He came back, and from the trajectory of my childhood and the way shit hit the fan in a real way, I don't think he was excited or prepared for that. So I grew up with both of them. I had to learn how to be my own parent. My mom taught me everything from like empathy to like openness to exposing myself to other ideas and cultures and everything. But she was dope. She was a cool human being, and she was an artist, and just pretty much didn't want me to grow up to be an asshole.
Wow.
So she did all her best to make sure that I was as cultured as possible. So that was good. But then my dad was like the inverse, because he's just like this trust fund kid, kind of conservative dude that like lives off his parents. And I was just like, what the hell? It was the weirdest career day ever. Like, what are your parents doing? Like, I don't know what my dad does. I still haven't figured it out. But my mom works her ass off at Radio Canada. So like, long story short, I realized that my dad is kind of still in his like adolescent years. Right. Perpetually due to like, mental illness, and I think he's got a touch of autism. I just sort of realized that like I had to kind of teach myself, and then that's led down to like other conversations I've had with him where I'm like psychoanalyzing him, because I'm like, I tick like you do, but I've gone through enough therapy, and I've learned that you got to hang your bullshit up on the wall before you go out into the world. That I know how you tick. So I would, tell him things like this, like, So, we all got to be our own parents. I don't want to go too deep into it.
And I love it, bro. I love it. And I really actually thank you so much for sharing this, because this strikes such a deep chord for me. As we've been having this conversation, we've been talking about it from various angles. Like, what does this mean? Is it even relevant? Like, what, because of the fact that it's, quote unquote, good parenting is, of course, subjective. But one of the things that it pinpoints on me, and I mentioned it earlier, is what it mentions in this article and what you're echoing here, and what's the story of my life too, And it's all the way back to why I say Plinko is my favorite Price is Right game. it's it's because of the fact that serendipity plus intention equal in life, right? Now, what that means is not always good shit. It doesn't always mean good shit. It means all the shit that happens falls under this category. But it's why I'm appreciative of stories like Meyer, stories like my own, stories like many of you all in here, ones where despite the fact that the Plinko chip went around in this direction, despite all that, there was something that happened in that equation that changed things around so that you didn't fall victim to the same thing that you were exposed to. And I say that because right next to you, Maya, right next to me, right next to all you all here, there's someone else who that shit did not pan out like that. It just didn't go well. They weren't able to recover from it. They didn't have the mother that showed them empathy. They didn't have the coach in college like my mother was, for the counselor that just so happened to say to her, hey, before you just give up because you feel inadequate and insecure, why don't you just give this at least just one semester try? You know, or it wasn't the all of a sudden the coach, like for my homeboy, where he got into he was in the music program, or they heard him pick up an instrument, and before you know it, that teacher there said one thing that changed his whole trajectory, even though his whole childhood was fucked up. It's why why I'm such an optimist when it comes to people, because what I see myself as, and you all as, and everybody that's still pushing on and trying to do better, I see us all as, if there's a goddamn miracle, it is us who have, despite those odds, things panned out differently. And I don't take that for granted. And I know that the serendipity and the intention makes it pan out in a way where you don't know whether that shit's going to hit $1 or $1 million. But it's why I like to be able to even have these conversations, because for those of us that have, we can be an example to try to help someone else who's trying to find their way too, with trying to make up for the things that wasn't given to them in their childhood for whatever reason. And it's all good. For sure. Maya, I really appreciate you for sharing that, bro. That it resonates with me as your story, as your journey, bro. I just want you to know that.
I always just love peeling back some of the layers of the onion, so I always appreciate the opportunity to do so.
100%.
But I know I go down rabbit holes.
Yes.
Sorry for ranting.
No, bro, not at all, bro. This is exactly the kind of flow, and that's why not only yield to it, but I create it on purpose, bro. And you're always in the flow, and I just want you to know that. And speaking of the flow, everybody in this flow, I want to open up the room again to say, please, by all means, I want to say hello to my FB peeps. Sherry Harrington Thompson says, good morning. Good morning. And if you're not hanging with me on FB, why the hell not? I'm at Aaron Hill TV. You can see me making silly faces, putting frames up in front of the camera, all that kind of crazy stuff. And as always, I'm excited. I think I'm about to play the piano for y'all in a few seconds, like literally a 3-minute interlude on this jam y'all hear in the background. This is my remake of Erykah Badu's Apple Tree. Yeah, I'm going to jam for y'all for a second. Before I do that, if there's anybody that'd like to come to the stage, by all means, throw up a wave, come hang out with us. We're hanging here until 10:30, continuing to talk about this topic of what it means to make up for the shit that you did not get in your childhood, and just what it means to be able to take control of your life in that way and in other ways. So by all means, you can come to the stage, throw up a wave, and if not, you just want to hang around the background, it's all good. I'm going to play for y'all for about 2 minutes, jam on this, and then we're going to keep this thing on. Open up the floor, see what else y'all think. Here we go. So this is Apple Tree, and if you don't want to be down with me, don't want to pick from my apple tree. Y'all know that joint. I'm not a singer, but I crush it live. All right, check this out, y'all. Apple Tree. Hope y'all enjoy. Give y'all a little bit more volume here. A little bit more volume for the people. A little bit more volume for the people. A little bit more volume for the people. Yeah. And if you don't want to be down with me. Thanks, Keisha. That's the jam right there. Erykah Badu. Thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah, so that's one of the tracks that I made. I made that about a couple years ago. And that song is a tune that I'm actually going to do with my good friend Kiana. She goes by Kiana. A great vocalist, great artist here in Baltimore. And y'all also hear that real soon. If you like that or any other music that y'all hear me play, just check out my Instagram bio. You'll see all of it there. So on that tip, once again, I want to refresh, say hello to the family. By all means. Oh yeah, speaking of the family, if you haven't seen it already, got the club, y'all. Got the club, y'all. Got the club. And so with that, by all means, join the AP family. I love this because what it means is that we as creators get a chance to give even more and more. And so with the club, now we can get better about notifications, about recurring events, like this morning show, of course, and other things. So by all means, go on and join the family. And also you can ping someone else in who you think might enjoy this experience too. All right, let's get back to the convo. Anybody have any? Oh, what's up? I see LT, what it be? LT, what it be? LT, OMG. I'm gonna try to keep my composure, LT. I'm gonna try to keep my composure.
Why you need to do that?
But LT, O-M to the G. So I mentioned it here yesterday, and I mentioned it again today. I'm always proud to be a part of this environment, this ecosystem, and amongst you beautiful people and all the amazing events that's happening. And on Sunday, when I was in the Clubhouse Town Hall, the very first thing that they mentioned, it was this important, that at the top, when they mentioned the highlights, they mentioned the Women Matter Club and all the things that the Women Matter Club are doing. Let's get it. O-M to the G, because this was on Sunday, and I think it was either Thursday or Friday, LT, was when you had mentioned to me the Women Matter Club and, you know, your position in it, and we've been talking about it up until this point. And I was saying then, I said Friday, I was like, oh my gosh, LT, I'm so excited because I see the future. I see where this is going. I see what this is. And then for them to mention that on Sunday, I was like, oh man, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is only the beginning, LT.
Yeah, I'm glad to be part of it. Being one of the admins now of the club, it just really showed for me that to honor what alignment, what the divine tells you to do. You know, we all had an opportunity to start our own club at some point, and it was like I just didn't feel it. You know, it wasn't something that you need to jump on. I felt that where the bay room and the reset room was, that it was enough.
Yes.
That we didn't have to build from scratch. And so club has over 6,000 members of women. Yeah. And it's just really amazing, you know, to be a part of it. Dr. Lola always, you know, hit me up.
Yeah.
And, she felt like, you know, she saw something in me that she wanted me to be, you know, one of the people who would be an admin of her club.
Yes.
So I'm very honored that happened.
Oh my goodness, LT. I am like, it made me think about our first time meeting. It made me think about the initial feeling, like just meeting you, like being like, oh my gosh. Like, not only is this someone who I think is just the coolest person ever, but she reminds me so much of myself. Like, this is crazy. And then I remember and this is only 90 days we talking about, y'all, not even a full 90 days, because it was after I had been on Clubhouse for maybe a week or so. But I remember that initial feeling. And then I remember right before calling you, even talking to you about this show and even wanting you to be a mod, you know, a co-host, I was just like, I really believe in LT. Like I could see, I was like, man, I really, really believe. So I already saw just in your life where you were going, and even in this app, I already saw, I was just like, this is why I support her so much, because we're like one and the same when it comes to what we stand for, what we shoot for. And so just with that, and with just every step of the way, the Bay Room, all the ways that you've held hands and supported people, I'm just like, man, LT is such a leader, and I've recognized her leadership and her humility, because it's like mine, it's the same. So when you told me about that, and like I said, I was excited about that, and I'm excited about this news. LT, like, this is about to like be beautifully amazing for you, this ride and all that's coming of you being in this ecosystem, and just the possibilities here. So I'm glad to have literally been a part of the very beginning of your journey, and of course always your journey, but I'm just honored to have been a part of the very seeds of it. I can't explain it to you. I really can't explain it to you.
I appreciate that. You know, I oftentimes hear this one scripture that really resonates in my head a lot.
Yeah.
And it just says that your gift will make room for you, especially before great people.
Yes.
And so I would also say, you know, my gift will make room for me. My gift will make room for me. And not in a way that I have to be in the forefront. You know what I mean? The one thing about me that most people would not get from me is that I don't mind playing the back part. I don't mind supporting and assisting people, and what they see is for them. It's one of the things that I love as being a strength finder, that I hear things that they may not hear that is a strength in them, and I regurgitate to them what they said to me so they can see that their light is bright, you know. Yes. So I'm thankful. You know, I don't take when someone actually sees something in me lightly and offer me an opportunity.
Right.
I just want to continue to expand, you know, build and expand and be an example as a babe that I am. And so the group is actually doing great. You know, we got some things that we're coming up with that's more aligned to build cohesively as a group, where we're, centering even finances so that we can build, you know, to a point that celebrate it. So, you know, they're coming up with little cute sayings, and we got some apparel that's gonna come out. So
nice.
I'm really excited for the Bay crew because they're just, you know, our saying is "you so Bay," so they're just so.
Oh man, that's fire! And
so
go ahead.
I see my co-leader there. I see my co-leader Coco.
Whoop, whoop.
She's so Betty.
Whoop, whoop.
Everybody has expanded and grown, and we try to make it our business to stay connected and stay supported, and you know, so it works. You know, it works. You know, we're still growing as a group, but we love on each other. We appreciate each other. We fix each other's crown. We make sure that each other knows that we have them. We have their back. We have their left. We have their right, and we have their front. We will pull them forward and call them forth. So it's really exciting.
That's so exciting.
Oh, well, I see Auntie G too.
Auntie G. Woo woo.
Yeah. I just looked down. Like, of course I'm driving. Y'all like catch me when I'm driving.
Right.
So I looked down and I see Auntie G. Pam and I went RV shopping yesterday, Auntie G. Just so you know, we was in there just in our dreamland.
Nice.
It was dope. It was dope. We had a great time yesterday.
You were in your dreamland, and you were definitely in my future dreamland, because you know we talked about it. When I hit the street with these street serenades, take this all across the country, I'm excited about this. And for those that don't know, street serenades, basically my answer to quarantine and COVID. Since May 29th of last year, from May 29th to November, I did 110 concerts outside with my piano, and I'm taking it across the country. Just hit 111 the other day and started off the new season of Street Serenades. So I'm coming to a street corner near you, a park near you, in your state, in your neighborhood, in your country soon, goddammit. But yeah, it's hitting that RV life first to get it done. So yeah, LT, that's so cool. That's so cool. Yes.
Oh, I didn't speak to everybody. Hey Amber, hey Ken, hey Keisha, hey Maya.
Hey, how are you? What's up, Ken?
I'm doing well. Hey Sam. Hey Eric.
Yes,
hey
yes.
Sherry. I want to make sure I, shout everybody out in the room.
Oh yeah.
I see y'all.
Yes. And speaking of which, we would love. Not only we see y'all, if y'all want to come up to the stage, you know how it is. We're wrapping it up usually about 10:30. I'm actually going to hang on for about at least 15 more minutes because I want to continue to dive into this idea of self-parenting a little bit more, and also just to see how you're doing in general. So we would love to say good morning to you. Smile me. What'd you say?
I didn't get to answer whether I'm reparenting myself.
Oh, you got it. You're about to answer that in 30 seconds or less. just wanted to say what's up real quick right before we jump into the supplanter. What's up, brother Brandon, Eric, Asim, Coco, Auntie G, Sherry, and this is exciting. And so with that, yes, this idea once again of the self-parenting concept, it goes by many names. Essentially, this concept is about you being able to look at your situation and you be able to take your life and yourself and develop yourself farther than you were developed, farther than what was given to you. It's first the realization of that, and then the taking responsibility with moving from there. Self-parenting. Let's get it. LT, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm always reparenting. I'm what I consider a village child.
Yeah.
Meaning that I was developed and groomed and raised by many.
Yes.
From a child, like very little. And so I did ask my mom, did she want me? Because I was with so many people.
Yeah.
But what I've taken from it was that it was a village approach.
Yeah.
And when those showed up. And so it wasn't until like maybe when I was in foster care for those years Did I realize that other parents parent different, and that that there was something going on? But I didn't really, everybody loves their parent. Well, mostly everybody loves their parent. I'm not going to say everybody, but mostly everybody loves their parent. And I love my mom. Like when I look at her as the overall person, she's just really sweet.
Yeah.
She's really sweet to her. She did the best that she could. Could she have done better? Yeah, if she would have expanded herself to know more. You know what I mean? Parenting for all of us who are parents only expands when we're open, like the umbrella, to expand and open up to more.
Right.
And so I didn't have a lot to take from her as a mom.
Right.
And I'm okay with that, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because I've learned throughout the years from other people that it was going to take a village to raise me.
Right.
That's the process of been. And so I got a little bit of my auntie in me.
Yes.
Got a little bit of my grandmama in me.
Yes.
I got a little bit of my sister girls in me.
Yes.
I got a little bit of Dr. Huxtable and Claire Huxtable in me.
Yes.
You watch it on TV. You watch it, and I'm still learning. They're still growing, and I'm still learning. And I realized that I spent the majority of my adult life parenting, and I'm like, God dang, like, for real, who will take care of me?
Yes.
I want to put this one twist in there, right? Because as a former social worker who has worked in the field for over 20 years, we always look at, and being an investigator as well, we always look at the abuse side of things, because those are things that you can actually see, right? You can see when someone's physically abused, or somebody can express that they was verbally abused. But we do not actually look at neglect the same way. And that kind of struck me the other day, that neglect is just as, the scars of neglect is just as deep as the scars as abuse. And some of us have been neglected in so many ways, and it shows up in our adulthood, but we don't think about neglect. We only think about the abuse side.
Wow. You hit something huge on the head that not only resonates with me, but I've had conversations with people about this regularly. It is significant that you say that, and we continue to learn this thing. I want to say this real quick, and I also want to say what's up to my good brother Tyrone, my homie. We go back like stock caps and waves, as I like to say. If y'all were here the other day, I introduced you all to Tyrone. He was the business product and service spotlight, and he's one of my best friends, and is like one of the sole reasons why I'm a musician today. So I just want to give him a shout out. And I want to read this real quick, and then I want to drill down a little bit more to see what thoughts come to mind for you all. What comes to mind that you realize about this? Okay, so I'm gonna read again the bottom line of self-parenting, right? At least the way we're talking about it. Self-parenting is about giving ourselves. It's about giving ourselves what we need. In self-parenting, we identify those areas that need nurture, discipline, and transformation. The victimized inner child, the bully that picks on the child, and the rescuer that thinks that he or she can live life without help. That's what, and here it says, see internal drama triangle. I'm so curious to click on that and see what that is, but I won't do it right now. It says to do those things so that we can begin to treat ourselves with love, respect, and concern. The good news is that we can heal the wounds of the past. We can reduce the deficits from childhood through self-parenting. With the help of a loving inner parent, you can meet the unmet needs from childhood. Okay, so this is what I want to do. I want to drill down a little bit deeper. And this is the question that I want to ask. What's one thing? It could be one trait. It could be one habit. What's one thing that since you've gotten older, you've had to correct or nurture or discipline or transform? And it was the one thing that you didn't get from as an example, like the direction that you would go now. That's not the example you got from your childhood. Just one thing. It could be It could be one small thing. I'm going to start with mine, and then I'm going to just open up the floor, also open up the stage for anyone who likes to come to the stage, to just share on this real quick. This is a good topic, I think. So for me, the number one thing that I was not taught that I now do is mirroring. I wasn't taught how to mirror, how to, like, if someone expresses their feelings to you, before I go ahead and just respond and just give my thoughts or my feedback, just checking in to make sure, as I say, like, to give this person a receipt of, like, that I got their point, that I understand what they're saying, that receipt of understanding. So I wasn't taught to mirror. I wasn't taught to, when a person says something to me, then I say, okay, what I understand you to be saying is this. And so when I did learn it, it helped a whole lot with conversation, because I could understand people better. I could show them that I cared better. But I wasn't brought up with that. That's one thing that I've parented and helped myself with after I learned that. I want to open up the floor to anybody who's on the stage. And then also, again, if you'd like to come to the stage, you don't have to answer that specific question. You could continue to just talk, share what thoughts have been sparked since you've been hearing this conversation. But also, I'm curious as to, like, one trait that you now do, one thing you've now worked on that, again, it just wasn't what you were brought up with, but now is super valuable as you've self-parented and turned it around and reparented.
I would say being heard.
Yeah.
And honored for what was said.
Right.
It's not something that actually I grew up with.
Right.
I was actually being told to do things, not asked.
Right.
And my voice wasn't always received by adults. And so as a mom, with my children, well, they're young adults now, I hear them, even if it hurts. Even if they tell me something that I don't agree with or whatever, I hear them. And so it's always been our motto that you can say what you mean what you say, just don't say it mean. And so they have the floor, they have their own mic.
Right.
I don't control their mic. Everybody has their mic in my house. We pass the mic around, and sometimes when they come to me and they say, "Oh, Mom, yeah, you did so and so," or "Yeah, that wasn't cool," like you yelled, and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Right.
I hear you. Right. I'll think about what you're saying,
right,
and I'll make adjustments accordingly.
Yeah, just that consideration.
I was not one of those. Yeah, I wasn't considered. Like I guess it was the area that I grew up in.
Yep.
Wasn't considered at all. So I do a lot more consideration for my children.
Right. I love that. I absolutely love that, because that echoes my sentiments too. I'm the same way. I was just mentioning earlier that with my daughter, and then this way with my kids, period. But with my daughter, I often practice that, like just this concept of, may I have this, or is it okay with you if, and I was taught that was like a sign of weakness as a parent, but actually it's a super sign of strength. And what it is equal is a deeper relationship with my daughter, and a deeper, more trusting relationship, because like you just said, LT, she knows that her feelings and her thoughts are considered, which allows her to even be more cooperative as a child, and more wanting to share, and wanting me to parent, like coming to me, like. So I love that. Anybody else? Something either that that comes up for you. Go ahead, Delia.
I was not taught boundaries. I was not taught that my personhood as a child was something that I could protect. Because my mother wanted to hug me, I had to give her a hug. And the amount of and being girls in the family, everybody talk about puberty, right. So much. And it's like that to this day. I really have a thing about it. And one of the things that I had to learn, one, I still struggle with boundaries. I still struggle with speaking up and saying, no, you're crossing into my space. During COVID, no, you're too close to my child. I struggle with that. I feel so bad that I struggle with that even with regards to my own children,
right.
my own child.
Right.
And on the flip side, I had to create boundaries. I had to not overcompensate because I, talk Luna through diaper changes.
Right.
I talk Luna through bath time.
Right.
I ask permission.
Right.
And I had to figure out how to overcome her no, to respect her boundaries while also washing the child behind.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Mommy has to wash your hands. Wash it with the pink cloth with the blue cloth.
Right.
And trying to respect her boundaries. I'd be like, no, baby, I gotta wash your hands.
And that, right.
So, yeah, I had to. I'm still learning to respect boundaries. Also trying to find a healthy balance.
And it's always that. It's always that, right? Because even like with what you mentioned, which is why I love that you mentioned the washing the behind, because what happens is ultimately, although like we were saying earlier, although parenting is subjective, right? As you keep drilling down, ultimately there are going to be all these places where as parents, we're having our child, or as Keisha even said earlier, being instructors and instructing our children to do certain things that we know is in their best interest. It is in their best interest. But then there starts to be those blurred lines in certain things, which is why I love having this conversation. Because again, we're always learning how to better parent. Because as a humanity, as we continue to grow and learn how to better conduct ourselves, that's essentially what we're doing, teaching ourselves how to be better parents of ourselves and of each other, those of us that we call our children. So I love that, Delia. Anybody else, what does this bring up for you as far as something that you weren't taught or that wasn't given to you that you have sensed now in reparenting and self-parenting and just being accountable to yourself around growth that you've is now part of your flow? And if there's any, go ahead, Myra.
I was going to echo that boundaries is a big one for me.
Yeah.
I haven't really taught that properly either. And I'm still learning that day to day.
Right.
So that's fun.
Man, I love that. I tell you, it's the same for me too, even though I've only mentioned one thing so far, and, my goal is to open up to everybody, but it's the same for me too. The way that I've learned to now set emotional boundaries. Yeah, I wasn't given that example. And in fact, in some ways, the things that I'm doing now would be seen as like disrespectful, or would be seen as like just misunderstood, as opposed to being understood as healthy boundaries for me to be able to actually be the best that I can be and to treat people right and to stay in, positive mindset. So I'm with you on that. Boundaries is one for me too. Anybody else? And one more time, and this will be the last time as we tie a bow in this conversation. I just want to open up the stage one more time to anybody who may want to come up and just kind of share your thoughts, anything that this has resonated for you. And if not, the beautiful part is I know that it's resonated with you, because unless your app is frozen, your ass has been sitting here enjoying this conversation. Yes, you. And thanks for coming through. As always, I appreciate it. Yes. Is there anybody else who on the stage who would like to share any final thoughts about just this whole topic? And then, I'm going to tie a bow on it with a few final thoughts. Yep.
Yeah, I just want to just add a little bit that, as with anything, parenting is a practice.
Yes.
And we're constantly putting in some things, taking out some things, offering some things, blocking some things,
Yes.
And the more that we become, the more open we become, the more we expand as parents. You don't get it all right, you don't get it all done, but you will have an effect on your children.
Yes.
And they will have an effect on you. What I've come to accept is that my children sometimes are my mother and my father at times because they have to let me know what I don't know.
Right.
And so I don't take it like I'm not the authority when it comes to them in certain cases. Like, you know, I'm more the manager, you know, and mothering, parenting itself is all cyclical. Like it has cycles to it.
Right.
You know, you're not always going to be in the nurture role, you know, and some aspects, especially when you're parenting while single, there's a balance that has to go on.
Right.
But I try to stay in whatever season I'm in, and so I'm in a season of management. Like, you know, there's certain things that they don't need, and there's certain things that they do need. And so because it's multiple of them, and it's one of me, I oftentimes ask them, what is it that they need from me in this season? And I let them share with me, you know, what they need. I don't bombard myself thinking that I need to give them everything, because I can't give them everything. I don't know everything. I'm still figuring it out.
That's it. I love that. I love that balance, LT. I love that balance. Anybody else? I got one more thought I'm going to share after this. And I'm also putting this article, one of the articles, there's been 2 articles that I read from today. I'm putting the first one up now on my Facebook page at Aaron Hill TV. Ever heard of self-parenting? And you'll see the article from RileyPsychotherapy.com. You know, y'all know I love some psychotherapy. I'm in school for it with the Milton Erickson Foundation, and I love this. Can't get enough of it. So with that, anybody else have any final thoughts before I tie a bow on this experience? Yes. All right. So with that, I'm going to read this right before the end of this article that I just put up, the very last topic, or next to last section. It says, learning what we need. Check this out. Self-parenting means learning what we need and how to be that good parent or adult who, whoops. All right, somebody tried to call me. Somebody tried to, let me put my phone on this. Learning what we need. Check this out. Self-parenting means learning what we need and how to be that good parent or adult who will provide them. It teaches us to align what we want with what is good for us. Successful self-parenting begins with learning about all aspects and traits so we can find the pieces of ourselves that needs attention. Because no parent or parents can provide for every single developmental need of a child. There are parts of us that were neglected or experienced trauma or hurt. They are confused, immature, and dysfunctional. These aspects of ourselves do not know how to live life on life's terms and thrive. And then it goes into that last part about self-parenting is about giving ourselves what we need. And once again, for the road, in self-parenting, we identify those areas that need nurture, discipline, and transformation. The victimized inner child, the bully that picks on the child, and the rescuer that thinks that he or she can that can live life, without help, so that we can begin to treat ourselves with love, respect, and concern. The good news is that we can heal the wounds of the past. We can reduce the deficits from childhood through self-parenting. And with the help of that new loving inner parent, you can meet the unmet needs from childhood. My peeps, I love y'all so much. Want to say good morning again and thank you to you, Brandon, Tyrone, Eric, Hasim, Coco, Auntie G, Truth for Life, Sherry, Meyer, Keisha, Amber Delia, and LT. Family, the AP family. I love y'all so much, and it really always means a lot to see the family in the house. And I'm also really excited because just where our lives are going, how the interconnection of our life and how we've connected with each other on deep levels is just continuing to go forward for all of our legacies. And so on that tip, I say I love you and can't wait to see you all again tomorrow. For those that don't know, 7:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Meyer, much love, baby. Paul, Keisha, Amber Delia, LT, much love, y'all. Open up your microphones, fam. In fact, I'm taking a deep breath. Let's get it, fam.
Thank you. This is great. Great conversation.
Yes, as always. And good to catch up with you, Keisha. Again, as always. Have a wonderful day. Yes. Have a wonderful day, Delia. Peace. Woosah. Got you all in check. Let's get it. LT. Peace. Keep doing the damn thing. All right, fam. Peace. Oh, and if you don't want to be down with me, don't want to be from my apple tree. Y'all know how it goes. Y'all can sing it better than me. You don't want to be from my apple tree. You don't want to be down with me. You don't want to pick from my apple tree. Don't want to be down with me. You just don't want to be down. All right, family. Peace. See y'all tomorrow.